Yes, as mentioned, greed was an inevitability. That was a sick dodge from greed right there as well. I thought for sure I'd be able to get out of his path, but he decided, no, this is how we're gonna do it. It's Friday night. I feel all right. The party's here on the west side. You know what I like about the song, This Is How We Do It? I listened to the lyrics for the first time probably like 2 years ago. And that song, Montel Jordan, say what you will, but he's got some positive role model thing going on, I think. He says, he's talking about going to the club. At one point he says, designated driver, take the keys to my truck. That's really responsible. And I like that, I'm not saying that if you have a song, no matter what genre, and you're talking about drinking and you don't mention getting a designated driver, that means you support drunk driving. It's just the kind of thing that maybe doesn't, you don't need to rationalize it. You don't need to talk about it. If you're talking about, lick it like a lollipop, you don't necessarily need to talk about, like, well, before we went to the club, I called up my aunt and she's gonna pick us up when we get too intoxicated. That ruins the mood, right? But I appreciate that Montel Jordan took some time out from This Is How We Do It to slice of life and be like, yeah, designated driver, take the keys to my truck. What a nice guy, right? Like Montel Jordan being a positive role model out there for all the other people who want to get blackout drunk on a Friday night. Not that there's anything wrong with that. This is, when I'm able to take my focus off dodging, I can get into those tangents like giving Montel Jordan the respect he doesn't get on a regular basis from the hip-hop community. There's nothing thug about drunk driving. That was probably the, straight up whitest thing I've ever said. Not that there's anything wrong with that, but sincerely, man. Occasionally, even at my age, when I was younger, you would come with, then this is not, again, if you're older than 25, this is not me being like, oh, I'm so old. But occasionally at my age, you'll find people who are, proud of the fact that they drive drunk, but I'm proud to say that the culture is switching against that. Driving drunk is, the least cool thing you can do. You can look cool when you're smoking. I don't think you look cool when you're smoking, but some people do. You do not look cool when you drive drunk, though. There you go. Mothers Against Drunk Driving, money in the bank, check in my pocket, thank you very much. Northernlion, you sold out! Well, okay, that's fine as well. But, that being said, as soon as self-driving cars come into, the marketplace on a regular and commonplace basis, you're just gonna get drunk everywhere, right? There's no excuse anymore. That's the thing, people are always like, what are our kids gonna think is so antiquated about our futuristic 2014 lifestyle? And everyone's like, gay rights or, trans rights, and I agree with that stuff, very much so. But I think the number one thing that's going to be most universal for a lot of people is the ability to drive drunk because your car drives itself. And is safer, man. It's actually safer for you to be drunk in your car and for the car to be driving itself than to put you manually behind the wheel. That's going to be awesome. I'm not saying I want to get drunk all the time. I'm just saying I could now. Pre-drink? No longer do you have to pre-drink and then take a taxi or something like that. You just get in your car, pour some shots. It'll probably still be illegal for 50 years after the advent of self-driving cars. But one day, man, think of the glorious world our children's children will live in. Drinking space vodka, absolute, galactic rum, and getting drunk on the way to the cyber club. Anyway, that's my vision of the future. I think we're sorely lacking that stuff, The visions of the future that we got from the late 90s and early 2000s, my formative years, were like the Matrix. It was all green text on a black background and console commands flashing up. That was cool. Now the vision of the future is this hyper clean, Elysium and Oblivion style aesthetic, both of which were movies that I thought were pretty terrible. But they're not, we're the Millers level, so I'm not gonna go off on a tangent on that, but I miss that grimy, everyone's listening to Rob Zombie style future aesthetic that people genuinely thought might be the case. In 1999, I knew two things about what the year would be like in 2010. We would be living with, like cavemen as a result of the Y2K bug, which was just a guarantee, and somehow, the one stereo remaining on Earth would exclusively be playing Rob Zombie all the time. And I was like, I'm okay to live in that future. And, you know, I'm kind of sad that it didn't happen. Like, our life is probably better as a result of it not happening. But, like, sincerely, that would have been pretty rocking for about, you know, 15, 16 months.
Dude, somebody is don't watch a Twitch stream and drive your car. If that's true, please don't. I really, really don't want to know that someone got in a car accident because of our stream. That's
to be
not
fair,
true.
you'd probably never know.
What if it was Megan Fox?
Oh my god.
She shouldn't be driving anyway.
And you insulted her on top of it?
Her shitty finger.
That's like her last day on Earth, and she got made fun of live in front of hundreds of people.
That's probably what made her get into the car accident.
I hate this narrative.
I kind of do too, honestly.
I actually saw a Lexus commercial, and they were advertising some car, and it had, like, prominently displayed on the front dash screen was, like, a Facebook logo. And I was thinking, so you're trying to sell us Facebook in a car. It's, like, the worst idea. Nobody even cares about Facebook to begin with, and then we're also going to do it while we're driving and die for it?
Texting and driving.
I pressed the button!
Everybody knows texting and driving is bad. I see so many people doing it. I'm trying to get in cars as little as possible until they're self-driving. And then you can jerk off and get wasted and check your fucking tweets and shit while you're driving. I don't care.
That sounds great.
When Kate and I were going to Victoria, we were like driving to the ferry, and I look over in traffic, and there's this dude, and he's got a baby on board sign on the back of his windshield, and he's like texting while he's driving. Come on, man.
God.
Hey, just bringing our human cargo home. Do you need me to get any? Oh, we're fucking dead.
Yeah.
Why even do that too? Like, do you really need to? Is it that important while you're driving?
Fucking
I don't
bored,
think it
man.
Is it illegal where you are, Ryan?
I think so. Certainly
Seems like it's illegal in most places now, which I kind of appreciate.
Shortface,
Wow.
thank you for the subscription, by the way.
Actually, got no one.
Hope you're not driving right now. It'll put me in a
I
weird spot.
jump dodged. That was amazing.
There's a huge homeless population in Vancouver. You will run into homeless people on a regular basis. Multiple times per day. 90% of the homeless people in Vancouver own Ferraris. That is just patently false.
It's an expensive place to live. Maybe the low rung of society starts much higher than other places.
No, there's no homeless people driving around in Ferraris.
Maybe they live in the Ferraris. They don't drive them.
If they had a Ferrari, they could just sell it and live anywhere else and not be homeless for like a long time.
For several months.
Several months.
I don't know how much you want to buy a used Ferrari for. Shit's used.
Ferrari's
Who's even buying a used Ferrari?
I think there's a big market for used sports cars, actually, for people that want to get in on the cheap, or maybe for a classic car collector or something like that. I think
anybody that's buying a Ferrari is like, man, I really want a new Ferrari, not a used one with somebody's butt stink in the seat.
Used Ferrari could be, you know, $50,000, $70,000, $100,000. New Ferrari's like 500,000 plus, I think.
Chad, how many of you would buy a used Ferrari if you had the money for a real Ferrari?
Why are we assuming that they have the money for a real Ferrari?
Oh, yeah, I don't know. I guess I kind of added that in my head.
It's creating an arbitrary condition that makes it very difficult for the situation to exist.
I mean, the whole argument kind of leaned on what I thought falsely in my head, so maybe, never mind.
Anyway, I'm telling you straight up. If you're reading some like National Enquirer shit about homeless people in Vancouver owning Ferraris, you are being misled.
Figure out what their angle is.
Hmm?
The ones that are trying to mislead you, maybe they're the ones with the angle, not the people
They're the
with
ones
Ferraris.
with Ferraris. I'll tell you that much.
That's true. Probably not used ones either.
Why would you buy a Ferrari in the first place? I think that's a great point. Yeah, it's worth 50% less as soon as you drive it off the lot, man. It's a bad fiscal decision.
That's
when
what
we were
I
at the
mean.
Canucks game yesterday, they were like, "Hey, you know, you spent more than $50 in the team store. Here's 2 Vancouver Canucks car flags." And I'm like, "Yo,
Nice.
our city is based around freaking public transit. I need like a lapel or something. Where's your alternate choice for those of us who don't believe in cars, or at least don't own them?" They didn't have any. I didn't say that. I said thank you. That's very nice.
You could sell them to someone who does have a car.
I'm not gonna freaking sell.
You become an entrepreneur.
Yeah, the flags are probably about worth 10 cents each. All you gotta do is spend $50 in the store to get 2 for free.
Chad, how many of you bought a used Ferrari? I want to know. For real. Don't lie to me.
Cars are real, NL. It's time to accept it. I'm telling you, man. I can't wait for self-driving cars, man. I'm not shitting on people who love driving. That's cool. However, I'm so excited for self-driving cars. I hope it happens within our lifetime. That I know, and you know.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to be skeptical. I just hope it happens within our lifetime. That's gonna be sweet, man. Hey, do you want to go out for dinner? Yeah. We'll have a glass of wine. We got to get a designated driver. No, don't worry about it.
Yeah, the car drives itself. It'll be an anxiety revolution. Everybody that's too worried about doing things, just go.
Yeah, I mean, there will probably still be the car accidents, but still.
Right, and the car gets to decide if you live or die without you having any input on it.
Yeah, like if it goes rogue, that sucks.
No, I mean, it doesn't have to go rogue. If there is a situation where, like, a tree falls down in the road and the car has to decide if you hit a pedestrian or you die, the car makes that decision, not you.
Maybe that's better.
Maybe that's better.
Then you don't have blood on your hands, right? It's all up to Mr. Google.
Oh, I didn't think about it that way. I always assumed the car killed you. Not you specifically.
Well, all we need is self-walking pedestrians, and then it's all, the ghost in the machine at that point.
Well, then the only actual solution is to upload all of our thoughts to our consciousnesses into the Matrix cloud.
And then we are the cars.
We could be a car if we want to.
What happens if the machine gets drunk? Look, I don't think they should program the machines to be, subjected to the whims of ethanol. That just seems like you're begging for trouble. I'm just saying, I think at some points we're, immune to the idea that, millions of people die every year in car accidents, man.
Yeah, a lot of people.
It's a global epidemic that we just kind of treat as oh, well, that's, you gotta get to work.
Do you think they'd min-max the way car production works once they self-drive to the point where they could use really shitty equipment in them and the cars would get extremely cheap?
I am severely unqualified to answer that.
Because imagine you could buy a car for like $300 or something.
Well, I mean, the reason cars are expensive is not because we drive them.
No, but they have to have the certain quality materials because they have to be ready for anything. Now all of a sudden they're not ready for anything, they're just ready for whatever necessitates them existing.
I don't think so, man.
Nick confirmed he would kill people to survive. Wait, how did I say that? They're ready for anything? That was the car. I'm not a car yet. Could be if you want me to be.
What is Nick even saying? Dude, I would pay way more for a self-driving car. Just so we're clear.
In Vancouver, you can't buy a jug of milk for $300. Oh.
It's an expensive place to live. You can buy a jug of milk for $300, though.
Must be really good milk there.
NL, self-driving cars already exist. You just have to buy one or equip your current car with the computer.
Well, you can't put them on the road.
Nah, the problem is that I don't need self-driving cars personally. I need everybody to have a self-driving car. Yeah.
Or it's one of those least common denominator shits, everybody's got to be on the same level or nobody gets the benefit.
Right. I don't think it's likely that anytime very soon at all we're going to enter a period where everybody literally is using a self-driving car. However, even just the majority being self-driving would make me feel a lot better.
Well, maybe in August of 2015 Obama will declare the entire world must now only use self-driving cars.
I guess if you don't have to worry about getting elected again, you could just do something.
You could do anything.
Well, it's got to get through Congress.
Literally Nope, doesn't anymore.
He could just pass a law that says Congress doesn't need to pass a law.
Nobody ever thought of that. That would be really smart.
And I bet he wishes for more wishes too. Fucking scumbag.
Thanks, Obama.
That's your first wish, more wishes.
Only scumbags want more wishes.
NL, are you aware that people actually like to manually drive cars? Yo, go back 8 minutes. I said no disrespect meant to people who like to drive cars. That's cool.
I even like it a little bit.
Sometimes I enjoy driving a car.
I got a lot of windy mountain roads around me, and there's something kind of therapeutic about driving sort of quickly around those.
Yeah. I don't disagree, man. I've been in some thrilling car situations.
The downside, though, is there's also, like, deers and all the animals that don't know what roads mean, and driving quickly around those windy roads could be your death.
The downside is, like, 1% of the population will be murdered by their car, or someone else's car.
Could be me.
It probably won't be.
I hope not. I don't drive that often.
Everybody's got to die of something, but, you know.
I'd rather there's something sweet like getting lowered into magma.
Yeah, that'd be a pretty sweet way to go, actually.
I had thumbs up the whole way down.
I think at that point, if you've accepted your fate, you pretty much just gotta. That's the only thing that's likely to get you saved. The villain could be like, you know, oh, sweet, he likes Terminator 2. And now, what about NASCAR? Oh, okay, sorry.
Self-driving.
We can't have self-driving cars
do
that'll
it.
save millions of lives because of NASCAR. Sorry about that. Yo, you would probably still be able to have NASCAR, is my guess. Like, I can't go out and punch somebody in the face on the street, but boxing still exists.
It's also like a closed course.
Right, yeah.
What about Der Autobahn?
I don't think self-driving cars should be allowed to compete in NASCAR, though. That seems like you got an Oscar Pistorius type situation.
Right.
What if your self-driving car has a stroke or something? Yo, I trust my car, then I trust my body. What if I have like a seizure or something, or a freaking heart attack while I'm driving?
Nah.
Only stupid people die in car accidents. That's like the most ignorant statement I've ever seen in my
Really bad
life.
one. There's people on the other side of the road that aren't you.
Yeah, what if I told you that, like, you know, you don't have to cause the car accident to be injured in a car accident? Like a drunk driver could just, you know, pop the lane and hit you head on because they're being an asshole?
I would
Well,
say
it's their own fault for driving sober and attentively that day, to be honest with you.
probably mostly everyone that's ever driven a car for any length of time has probably had a run-in with something that they're like, hey, that wasn't my fault.
Yeah.
It's pretty scary. Because it wasn't your fault. NASCAR isn't even real. See, now we've got truth going on.
Yo, the only reason I acknowledge that comment is just in case there are people out there that think that, you know? I wanna straight up be like, you know, that shit isn't cool. It's like when people are like, I don't like wearing my seatbelt. It makes me feel uncomfortable. And I'm like, yo, you're gonna die, maybe. I had to yell at Kate about it because I was like, you know, if we get in a car accident, you don't have your seatbelt on and you die, you know who's gonna eat shit on that one? It's gonna be me. Everyone's gonna be like, why didn't you make your wife wear her seatbelt? And I was like, oh, I told her 100 times. So they're like, you're a bad husband. And then I got a dead wife and people are mad at me at the same time.
It's a bad predicament. It's really not a big deal. It's just like a little strap.
What if everybody was drunk driving? Would the non-drunk drivers be the dangerous ones? No. I appreciate your theory crafting there, but no, absolutely not. Yeah, I agree, Chad. It is selfish for me to tell my wife to put her seatbelt on. So that I don't get in trouble.
Think of the baby.
Oh, don't even. Yeah, Chad said at least you still have the baby.
Yeah. So they like pulled it out of her while she was on the side of the road.
Yeah, that's the music video for Lightning Crashes, man.
That's awful.
Oh, my feeling coming back again.
And there's just cuts to like slow motion glass flying through the air.
Like a rolling thunder chasing the wind.
Close-ups of people's face in despair.
Pull you down into the center of the earth again. I can feel it.
The camera's sort of rolling topsy-turvy as it approaches the ground. I can pretty much direct this.
Anyway. It's a good song, though. Keep going. I don't remember the lyrics to Lightning Crashes. I just remember how I feel about the song. So all the lyrics in my head are like, there's an old lady, and she's dying of old disease. And in the other room, there's a new mother having a baby. And then the old lady dies, and the lightning strikes, and then the baby is born. It's got the soul of an old woman, but it's magical and not at all creepy like it sounds. Isn't life wonderful?
This is
Lightning.
what you get out of music.
Yeah. I just remember the feeling, man.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't remember the lyrics either. But, I see where you're coming from.
It definitely has, like, some overblown, like, the angel opened his eyes, pale blue-colored eyes. And you're like, yeah, it's a baby, I get it.
All babies have blue eyes for the first hour.
It's like a metaphor, but it's one of those metaphors that they actually, at the end of it, they're like, in case you didn't get it, here's what's happening.
It's one of those metaphors where at the end they're like, we want this to be a metaphor, but the truth is we actually really want it to all be real.
The crime you would commit if you could get away with it. Booting black tar heroin with Obama on a bank. Or jaywalking.
Yeah. It's a lot of B alliteration. I gotta pick that one.
It's maybe one too many.
What?
Alliteration only works if it's an odd number.
Black tar heroin.
No.
No, it's two sets of two, man. It's a couplet.
How did
black,
jaywalking
Obama
beat
bank.
booting black tar heroin with Obama on a bank?
Obama and on do not count as
You brought it up like
Alliteration.
3 games ago. You remember that whole don't try too hard?
Obama bank.
God damn it.
You tried too hard.
I guess so.
Also, it's also got hilarious number of syllables.
the crime you would commit if you could get away with it. Robo-sodomy, tag stuffing my YouTube videos, jaywalking, fuck, smoking a doob with Abe Lincoln.
I don't know if that's against the law.
Not in Washington State.
I like robo-sodomy. That's gonna get all 3 of my votes.
Yeah,
I've said
jaywalking
jaywalking in this exact question earlier. And if it's Nick that wrote jaywalking, dude's just
Nah.
poaching my answers here.
It wasn't Nick. It was me.
You fuckers.
I didn't know. I don't know. I don't know when you guys played Jake with the last of the clips.
I wanted it to be interracial robo-sodomy.
Oh, that'd have been good.
That would have been better. All right, fuck got 9%. Get out of
I ran
chat.
out of time.
Jaywalking. 15%.
That's better than I expected, honestly.
I read this thing. I'm going to Ireland pretty soon, so I was reading up some touristy things about Ireland, and there was a list of the 10 things you shouldn't do if you go to Ireland. And one of them is not smile at people in cars when you're driving, because apparently they take that as an insult. I'm gonna guess this is not true, but this article was really strangely phrased, and they apparently made this a fuss that if you're driving, you gotta smile at everybody.
That's fucked up. I would hate it.
Can you verify this? Someone in chat who is Irish?
I can almost guarantee it's not true. It's just a ridiculous thing to put in this article.
That is very strange. Yeah, why would you take it as an insult if someone smiled at you in a car?
But they did have more credible things like, please don't talk about American politics or say top of the morning to you, because no one actually says that.
What is it
Only
about
Septic
you
Eye
people?
Jack says that.
I'll be like going to... I was in Quebec City with my parents before the last U.S. presidential election. Like 6 months before it. And there were all these Americans from like Maine and Connecticut and Quebec City. And all they did would be like, hey, did you see this guy in our office? And I'm like, we're like, what are you talking about? You're in our country talking to like our people about your politics. We don't give a shit at all.
I mean, we just assume that you guys are, you're tired of the sovereignty and the.
It killed me when I was at the
You
top.
want to hear about how great democracy is, So.
It was always like, we gotta get him out of office. And we're like, where do you think you are?
Yeah, I didn't need an article to tell me not to talk about American politics to people that don't live in America. I don't even want to hear about that shit most of the time.
Yeah, I don't care at all. People are talking about it all the time now because of the election stuff, and
That makes
I just
sense.
don't care.
Yeah.
I
In
just really
smaller areas of Ireland, people will wave at you when you drive past.
Alright, well, I guess that's who they were talking about. But, do they get insulted if you don't wave back? Because I really don't like waving to people that I drive past. It's just, too much work.
I'm not gonna do that at all.
It's a lot of people you might drive past.
If anything, I'll give the person the stink eye for driving in a fashion that is reprehensible to me in some way because he drove too fast and I was near him, and stuff like that.
Drove too fast.
Move too fast.
Dude, sorry. Hanging out with a lot of Canadians lately.
Wow, rude. Much appreciated.
Not sure about the car one, but the Irish have some batshit crazy rules. Well, I gotta get, up on this stuff before I'm in the middle of some kind of international issue.
If a car stops for you, just give them a nod like cheers. Well, that's just that's par for the course.
Yeah, everybody
Why would
does
a car
that by
stop for you?
default.
Oh, yeah. No,
Crosswalk
yeah.
or something.
That's everywhere, yeah.
Unless you're in Russia, they'll just hate you sometimes.
Although something that's pretty funny is that when I always see tourists in New York and they don't jaywalk, and it's like general rule, you should really jaywalk in New York. It's pretty much like part of our culture here.
It's still illegal though, isn't it?
No, not really. I mean, it is, but like no cop is gonna.
Okay.
Like, nobody's gonna fuck with you about it.
Hey, before I jaywalk, you a cop?
Gonna ask everybody around.
I would probably not jaywalk in front of one of those like little traffic cop cars. There are these little like traffic cop cars that are literally they're like cardboard boxes on two wheels. Like those guys probably hate their life so much that they would stop you for jaywalking. So don't do it in front of them. But besides that,
you gotta hate your life to enforce the rules that keep us as a just society. Right?
No, I highly doubt those things have air conditioning. Let alone, I mean, they would have no.
Well, I don't have air conditioning.
Foot space at all. I mean,
I don't have air conditioning.
And you probably stopped me for jaywalking, right? Because of your lack of air
Yeah, I
conditioning.
really hate my life because of my lack of air conditioning.
Get in. I'm suspicious of anybody asking about directions now. Am I wrong? Does that make me like super cynical?
Yeah, that's pretty cynical.
No, I had a guy asking me for money for so he could buy a car part to fix his car that was just down the street.
That is a scam and a half.
After I gave him $10, he was asking me for a ride, and I was in my mom's Mustang GT at the time, and I'm like, dude, you're not stealing my car. Sorry, I gave you the money. Like, fuck off.
Then that's like an escalating scam. Is like,
yeah.
Okay,
How many levels deep can we go?
If this guy gives me $10, I'm gonna ask for his car.
He was gonna freaking rob me. I know he was. I could feel it in my blood.
Up.
Like,
did he have that look in his eye? Like, I'm gonna rob this guy.
He had a crazy look about him.
Or they don't look in your eye at all, because they're too guilty about what they're about to do. But the directions, though, like that's people ask for directions.
I had a guy across a crosswalk when I had a green light to turn right. So we ended up getting like kind of a brake screeching situation, and then when he continued to jaywalk past, he slapped our car on the hood with his hand. I was like,
ooh,
nice.
He has made his presence felt. Did he scream, "Hey, I'm walking over here"? He did not. I think he said something like "fucking idiot," and I was like, "All right, dog." I had a guy in Germany just ask me for weed. You know what? Weirdly enough, that seems like more normal. It's like at least he was honest with his intentions.
Yeah, I agree. This like with the guy with the $10. If you're gonna ask for it to fix your car that's not real, like just tell me what you want the $10 for. I'll be much more likely to give it to you.
Just see if he can rob me.
Just be honest. Are you gonna rob me? Tell me that right off the bat. I'm a big fan. Give me your dick.
NL, that car story happened to me, but it was a lady, and she screamed, "What the fuck are you doing?" and hit the car with every word that she said. That is actually pretty funny.
Jeez.
Don't talk to strangers, man.
Ever. Or anyone.
Don't talk to anyone. Even your best friends might be trying to scam you.
Yes,
What's up?
Hi.
Howdy doody, neighborino.
Welcome to the show. How are you?
Good. Just chillaxing, relaxing.
Are you maxing, relaxing, all cool? Were you shooting some b-ball outside of the school?
No, it's getting a little too cold for that, Nick. Okay. Come on. Be realistic here.
No
Actually,
b-ball.
It was pretty nice out today for mid to late November.
Yeah, same. It was like almost t-shirt weather outside, which is a little odd, actually.
It's teasing us. Next week is probably going to be like 30 feet of snow, and you can't
bring it on.
Yeah, bring it on. Just
like
make an igloo.
As long as I don't have to go anywhere, the snow is pretty sweet.
True that. I've always kind of wanted to get snowed in.
Same.
You know? No, like legitimately like 20 feet of snow. It's like you can't open your door. It would probably in reality be miserable, but I feel like it's something everybody should experience at least once.
I think it's like almost a fantasy of doing that with like the significant other, right? Like you're on a vacation or something, you're in Aspen because we're making up shit as we go, and then the snow happens and you're like, well, all we've got is each other and the fire and cup of cocoa and hopefully enough food to last us for 4 or 5 days.
What are you talking about?
Getting snowed in like Edward.
Yeah, like
I said this before, but Every time people are excited about the snow, I just think of like Louis Armstrong's "What a Wonderful World" playing as a montage of like people dying in car accidents on the 401 happens.
That's sad.
That's sad.
It's reality though.
Nick's been watching Dumb and Dumber.
People do die on the highway.
All the time.
You know, they don't understand the, black ice is a thing. You can't see it, and then you're dead. Like that. Very sad.
They drive full speed on the highways in the middle of the worst weather, thinking that they're just immune from it, and they're actually going to take out a lot of people, including themselves.
Yeah.
Not cool.
A couple weekends ago, just before I came back from my parents' house on one of the roads that I'd come back on, there was like a 6-car pileup. And people were like actually trapped in their car,
that's fucked
and
up.
they couldn't get out. I'm not sure if anybody died in that one, but it was still just like shitty. Also,
Yeah,
banana.
I would fits the definition of shitty.
It's cool.
It happens in Vancouver, but with rain. Like, it was really dark and rainy like a week ago, and if you look at Scan BC, it's like BC police are on scene with a pedestrian hit by a car. BC police are on scene with a pedestrian hit by a car. I mean, it's not as bad because it's not snowing here, but, jaywalking, black clothing, combined with, like, poor visibility and driving too fast. There's, like, a lot of people got hit by cars, or last week. Everybody
damn
making
reflectors on.
Yeah, if you're going to the grocery store to get some milk, put on your helmet with the blinking light on the front, and then put your construction vest on, and then...
What I mean is you're going to carry a bag, right, if you're going grocery shopping, you put a freaking stripe on it.
I see what you're saying. The reflective tape. You want to do the daily challenge?
That's all I'm saying. Yeah.
Let's do it.
The crime you would commit if you could get away with it. Jaywalking and smoking the reefer. Or break into GameStop and poop in the safe.
Yeah, that'd be pretty good.
You guys see that dude who was in Target and
Doo-doo?
You guys see that doo-doo?
You guys see that dude who went into Target and peed all over the games?
No?
Yeah, that sounds awful.
It's awful.
Why did he do that?
I don't know. It's 'cause you had to go, I guess. Ballot will probably repay itself over the course of a run. That is like... I mean, I get that that's sensible, but that sounds so boring. Ballot will probably pay for itself over the course of a run. That's like, hey kids, invest all your money in bonds. They'll probably pay for themselves by the time you're old enough to die. Fuck you, Granddad. I'm gonna invest in solar-powered automobiles. They're going to 0 or 100 really quick. I thought you were all about boring upgrades, NL. I actually am. I can't lie. I'm into it. Equities for life? Hell yeah, dog. All I do is invest in the commodities market. Wake up every morning feeling like P. Diddy. I'm like, what's the price of corn? About $3.50. I check my quitties before I leave with a bottle of Jack, because when I leave for the night, I ain't coming back. I guess I'd already picked up a key. What's your dream car? Make it realistic, not like a rocket-powered jet. Okay. Honestly, my dream car is like a self-driving car that doesn't make mistakes on a road where every car is self-driving and never makes mistakes. And that's pretty much the extent of it right there for me. I'm a simple man. I'm a simple man. All I require is world-transforming technology that, at least as of present, doesn't exist, and then also it needs to reach a level of critical mass that is probably a pipe dream for the near future. Okay, sure, the Batmobile would be cool as well. Eventually, there'll be like a universal translator, and that's gonna be sweet. And I know that, that's probably annoying if you spent like your whole life learning languages and that's like an employable skill. I sympathize with that a great deal. But then I think, the robots are coming for all of us, dude. 1/3 of America is employed in the transportation sector. I'm not saying we're getting self-driving cars before 2030, but at some point there's gonna be self-driving trucks. They're gonna be hauling milk from Wichita to Kansas City. It's not that far in the whole scheme of things, I guess. And they're coming for all of us. Eventually, you're gonna be watching you know, robots on TV because they're just consistently funnier than human beings could possibly muster. So they're coming for all of us. They might be coming for translators first. Sorry. Well, you know what? We've already got Roombas. The Roomba science is not quite there yet. I'm pretty excited for universal translators, though. That'll be sweet. But you know, like, even if you're a person who works as an interpreter right now, there will always be people who are wealthier than they know what to do with. And they'll be like, oh, you use the robot interpreter? We have an artisan interpreter. Oh, it's just so nice to use analog instead, you know, the nuance isn't lost, etc., etc. By the way, don't take this as me saying, like, yo, this shit's gonna happen next year. In fact, you shouldn't take me as an authority on this subject at all. If there's anything you can trust me for in these videos, it's to remind you time and time again, deliberately or by way of my means of communication, that I am an idiot, and everything that I say here is my own personal opinion, and it does not necessarily have, you know, empirical evidence to back it up necessarily. But I think automation is a really interesting prospect. I would love a self-driving car. I like driving, and, you know, go watch some Vancouver dashcam videos. It's fucking hell on earth out there. But even as much as I like driving, I'm gonna, as soon as, like, self-driving cars are around and they've hit critical mass out there, I'm all in on a self-driving car, man. Because I would rather have slightly less fun and have a 0% chance to die in a car crash. Or not a 0, but a more infinitesimal percent chance to, like, get in a car accident that fucks up my whole life. That would be pretty sick. And I think it would be selfish of me to be like, nah, I'm gonna keep relying on my human mind when this robot can do it for me, when the sum total of mankind's driving ability's been programmed into this machine. Anyway, it's gonna make NASCAR horrible to watch. But thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed the episode. Nick, I meant to ask you, did you check out moralmachine.mit.edu?
Only in passing. I saw a lot of people tweeting back and forth, but I didn't get to, put myself through the machine, if that's what you wanted.
Moralmachine.mit.edu, we're not breaking the website, it's just really slow because a lot of people are using it as is MIT crowdsourcing morality for a hypothetical self-driving car. And if that sounds like heady, it doesn't need to be. Basically, you know, if you're in a self-driving car and you have the chance to, like, continue driving straight and kill pedestrians, or swerve out of the way of pedestrians and kill the passengers in the car, what do you do? Like, there's got to be some solving of this problem before self-driving cars can hit some level of relevancy. And it was really interesting to learn how I felt about it. For example, Nick, let me present you with some hypotheticals here. For all of these examples, let's just assume same number and same age of the people on the street, and the people on the street and the people in the vehicle, okay? So you got like 4 people in the vehicle, 4 people crossing the road.
Yeah, equivalent exchange, life for life.
Let's just assume that for now. Can't the car just stop? You know what? Why don't you go to MIT and tell these future Albert Einsteins to just make the car stop, okay?
It's a physics problem. There's inertia involved.
I think it's more like if there's no way around it. Like, this is like hypothetical morality, if that makes sense.
You're talking about in a situation where the car is already like in a skid, going around a corner where you don't really have time to react, and the car can't even properly adjust mechanically, even if its reaction was perfect.
All right, let's start with this one. You're in the car, 4 pedestrians on the street crossing the road legally, but your car can't stop. Do you tell your car, do you say that the car should swerve into a concrete barrier and kill all the passengers, or that the car should kill the pedestrians?
There isn't like a real answer to that, though.
You have to answer it. You're the new chief engineer in charge of morality at MIT.
Okay, well, in the realm of self-preservation, I believe most people would say...
No, it's not most people, Nick. It's a societal ideal.
I'm very uncomfortable judging.
Your wife's in the car and your daughter's crossing the street, but they're genetic clones because it's the year 3000.
Okay, this is getting even worse now.
No, you just answer the question, man. Four strangers in the car. You're at MIT headquarters calling the shots. 4 strangers in the car, 4 pedestrians crossing the street. Who dies?
They're crossing the street. They're legally in the right to cross the street. Is the presumption?
Yes, in this case.
They're in a crosswalk and they have the right of way. And,
correct.
Well, they're pedestrians. They have the right of way regardless.
No, I don't necessarily agree with that, and I hope that our MIT chief engineers don't necessarily agree with that.
All right, well, one of you is in a 2-ton piece of metal.
Just answer the question.
I'm giving you background to why.
This is not background. This is up, down, all around. You're giving me distractions.
All right, the pedestrians should not be hit.
Okay, what if they're jaywalking?
The pedestrians should not be hit.
Whoa! So you're saying you could be driving, or like having your self-driving car drive for you. You know, you're just hanging out, you're driving around downtown New York City in your new Tesla 69, and a homeless person jumps out in front of you and goes, ooga booga! Your car should swerve into a concrete barrier because that dude jumped out in front of you?
I don't know.
Well, can we, you know, elaborate, please?
It's not an easy problem to solve. And I've actually considered this before, not quite with this level of granularity, but I have thought about this problem before. And I don't exactly know where I always fall.
Like, my thinking is like, I think if the pedestrians are crossing legally and then my car is like, sir, the brakes are out, I'm like, all right, Jarvis, let's, you know, die as we lived, adhering to a strict ethical code that's completely arbitrary. Take us into the barrier, right? But if if Jarvis is like, hey, sir, you know, your family's in the car and there's 4 motherfuckers, you know, just ran into the street horsing around, I'd be like, I'm not letting those fuckers unintentionally kill me. They made their decision to jaywalk when we have a system of laws in this society, and they're gonna get hit. Because I would be like, I would be pissed, right? If I got a phone call and it was like, hey, like, your wife's dead. I'd be like, oh, how, that's tragic. How'd she die? Oh, well, you know, she was driving her car with your baby in it, but then 4 pedestrians jaywalked in front of her, so, you know, the car swerved into the barrier because the pedestrian has the right of way. Sorry. Like, people horsing around means your wife's dead.
The thing I was going to say in this case is it's not quite as cut and dry, and this was the background that I was going to give, that you hitting the barrier guarantees your death the same way that it would be very likely for you to definitely kill the pedestrians.
No, but in this situation, the conceit of this...
The car has safeguards.
No, that's a loophole. The conceit of this is, if everybody's going to die, which one do you do? It's not actually a physics problem.
I don't know if that's like a fair question.
Someone's got to be thinking about this. The dude at MIT is programming the AI for Teslas has got to be like, what if this contingency comes up, you know?
No, I agree that they need to think about it. I just don't know if the way it's phrased is the right way to phrase it.
Mr. Philosophical Questions to tease out ethics and morality doesn't want to answer a philosophical question to tease out ethics and morality.
Well, I have to answer the question that I agree to the terms of it for.
Well, I mean, these are the terms as dictated on their website. I just think, you know what? I'm glad you don't work at Tesla, because that just gives me...
Yeah, me too.
That gives me
I have no business doing that.
a further ability to make sure that my warped worldview ends up being what's prevalent, hopefully. Here's another one, okay? You got 4 humans crossing the street on one side, like one lane of your street, let's say. 4 dogs crossing the street on the other side. The dogs are crossing legally, but the humans are jaywalking. Do you swerve to hit the dogs, or do you continue on your present path and hit the jaywalking humans?
The dogs are crossing illegally?
The dogs have the right of way. They have the walk signal.
That's an interesting one.
Why are you so scared of the question, Nick?
Well, I really hate being put in this position because it's awkward for me personally, but I know probably the answer I would go with is you should probably hit the dogs because they have a much smaller impact on the world.
You know what?
Sad to say.
You answered, and I will answer. I also said no matter what, hit the dogs. I would minimize human death, if possible.
I really don't like being in a position to say that I'm for the death of anything, though.
Nick, we live in a cold world. Every day we wake up and we consume other beings' life force to continue our existence on this planet. Now, I gotta get Jenny to soccer practice. You gotta tell me who dies, okay? She's gonna make the national team someday. Who dies?
This is fucked up, man. Can we just not have the self-driving cars, actually? It's starting to make
No, but you'd rather have every individual making this decision themselves in the moment?
Here's the thing. We can't universalize the concept of driving cars automatically, right? Some people are still going to have manually driving cars.
You're
that kind of throws the whole thing off, doesn't it?
You're looking at a tree, and then you're erecting a forest and saying, I can't see the tree through this thing. They've given you a distillation of the question.
I don't live in a vacuum.
They've given you the question is not like, all right, well, in 2016 you said you'd kill the dog, so, you know, here we go. Dogs are gonna get it, you know? It's just, it's food for thought.
So in this situation, then, the hypothetical is that everyone has automatically driving cars.
Yes.
Well, that would make me feel a lot better then.
Well, I don't know. Not if they're answering the questions the way I am, apparently. All right. Here's one for you. Same scenario. You got 2 lanes, you know? One lane, jaywalking criminals. The other lane, jaywalking normal members of society. The other lane, jaywalking criminal. Or the other lane, hold up. Start over again. 2-lane road. You're driving straight. You're gonna hit some jaywalking regular citizens, or you could swerve to hit some criminals who legally have the right to cross. Who do you hit?
Why are they criminals and how?
They're just criminals. You know it because you're the Chief Justice of the region.
Well, what I mean is, like, do they have warrants out for them?
They're literally wearing a black mask and holding a bag that has a $sign painted on it. And
that's pretty bad.
On the other side of the block is a bank with its window smashed open and an alarm going wee-oo, wee-oo.
Well, they're both criminals. The people that are jaywalking are criminals, and so are the people who are criminals.
Correct. Do you hit the legally crossing bank robbers or do you hit the jaywalkers?
Jaywalking is about as non-serious a crime as you could ask.
So you hit the bank robbers.
Yeah.
Dude, can I tell you something?
You wouldn't hit the bank robbers?
I hit the jaywalkers. That's what we have a justice system for, is to deal with those bank robbers. The punishment for jaywalking is that you might get hit by a car. You also might get like a $40 fine, but you might get hit by a car. That's like you're not following the rules of engagement.
It's an interesting way to look at it. Everybody telling me to fuck off. I mean, I haven't committed that I wanted to kill bank robbers, nor have I even thought this through very clearly.
I'm with NL. I'm so glad to hear that I'm not the only one here. They also, like the MIT thing, it tries to get you to tease out some like beliefs that you might have about society. Sometimes it'll be like, you know, you have 3 athletes in your car, and then there's 3 pedestrians crossing legally who are of large stature. Who would you hit? And I'm like, MIT, come on. Don't be trying to suggest that I'm more likely to hit someone who's overweight than someone who's like an elite athlete. But here's the ultimate one that brought it all together for me. 3 pedestrians crossing legally. You're in your car. Do you swerve into the barrier or do you hit the pedestrians? And I said, I think this is the first one we did, but I said at that point, you know, the people crossing legally have the right of way, and you made the decision to get in the car, so bite the bullet. They shouldn't be penalized for just crossing the street legally, you know? What it basically comes down to is, like, the number one thing that I value in life is looking at the walk, don't walk signal and following those rules thusly. And also, if you're a dog, sorry, you're fucked.
Well, I already knew that about you from watching Fallout. Yeah, those moral arguments can get really complicated.
But we
do need to have
the
them.
beauty of it, man. That's the beauty.
Some of these things are just sort of like, you know, the reason I don't want to think about this stuff very much is because I'd rather it all happens in the space of less than a second and then it's already done.
I don't know, man. I prefer the idea of having like some agency over it or something like that.
If you have agency, then you have yourself to blame for the rest of your life.
I don't mean agency in the sense of you know, steering the wheel myself. I mean agency in the sense of like having a say in the discussion over how this car should value human life.
So say the moral argument sways the wrong way for you and these cars ultimately have their AI implanted in them. Would you then be morally opposed to driving in these cars?
No, not morally opposed, no. I mean, my car right now could just have the brakes go out and swerve into like an orphanage or something like that.
Sure, but that's beyond your control. You were kind of technically agreeing to the terms of service of the car when you choose to drive inside of it.
Isn't that what we're already agreeing to, that terms of service with this car? The brakes could go out, I could swerve into an orphanage.
There's no moral agency to it, though. I'm talking about the autonomy that's afforded by making this argument ahead of time.
I don't know. I think there is agency associated with it. I think if you, you know, buy a car and drive it on a regular basis, you got to accept I could murder somebody with this car accidentally.
Yeah, but I'm saying, like, you didn't figure out an argument ahead of time that says if this happens, then I want this to happen.
Right.
And then you get in that car regardless. Even if it's against the way that you'd prefer it to go. You know, if the places were changed and the car hits the jaywalkers instead of the criminals or vice versa.
Right.
And you wanted the other one, do you now no longer want to drive in that car?
No, not really. I'm still okay with it. I mean, basically the way I see it is...
what's the point of arguing it then?
Well, I mean, like, I think it's interesting, you know? I think it elucidates something interesting about the way we consider morality from a societal standpoint. But then also, I mean, as much as we're saying tongue-in-cheek, I'll be real pissed if I die in a car accident because someone jumped out in front of my car and people were like, you know, walking is a human right. So you could actually, like, engage in vehicular manslaughter by jumping out in front of a vehicle that can't stop in time and thus swerves into a, you know, concrete barrier or something.
You know, that's kind of fucked up too, because that could get really taken advantage of. Malicious people could murder you by getting in front of your car knowing that it'll kill you.
I would mod my own car and be like, you know that whole jaywalking thing? Just hit him.
But that's what I meant when I said this doesn't exist in a vacuum. Those little caveats really do shape
But here's the
narrative.
Thing. If you're in a self-driving car and you get like in an accident that kills somebody, or a regular car, then, you know, your life is irreversibly changed regardless. It's not like you're going to be like, well, at least they did the moral thing. So I feel like, you know, it's a pretty catastrophic thing regardless.
I agree, but if people are going to abuse it and essentially just get you killed because they felt like it.
Well, no, that's what I'm saying. Jaywalkers, no rights. Rob, who would you hit?
I think, actually, in this case, because this is a moral dilemma that has been in philosophy for years and years and years, right? And there's
I'm glad you're here, Rob, because you have perspective here. I like that.
I actually wanted to bring up a bunch of points, to be honest, and I hope we continue to speak about this. But it has been a moral dilemma for a long time in philosophy, right? And there's no really good, solid yes or no answer, black and white, on what's the right thing to do, right? There's loads of different schools of philosophy. I would suggest something that maybe, I don't know, I haven't thought it through entirely yet, but I think maybe this could be a potential solution.
Is your solution
like a Band-Aid?
Everybody dies in every situation?
Yeah, exactly. Kill them all.
It's the Rick and Morty solution.
I think, see, because here's the thing, I considered that too, Nick, when this conversation was just brought up, that if someone knows the system of how it works, then they would abuse it, because we're humans. That's what humans do. We
love
exploit
abusing
systems.
everything.
That's what we do. So I would suggest that perhaps it might be a good idea to leave it to random chance at some point, because before the self-driving car, it was random chance, right? So really the system's not changing that much. The only problem is, even though it's, I think, philosophically the same, people would have a problem with it, right? Because that's like a machine choosing who lives and who dies. Just by random chance.
Yeah, it's pretty fucked up. I don't know.
You know, I think I'm with Rob on this. I think what it has to do is look at, like, literally the milliseconds on your clock and make a freaking judgment based on that.
God, I hate you fuckers. Just hit the jaywalkers.
I mean, but here, okay, I want to bring this up too, because does jaywalking constitute capital punishment? I realize it's a crime, but I mean,
should your life though, should your decision be able to murder somebody else, and you'll be like, whatever, I gotta get to the store 10 seconds faster?
I mean, well, okay, firstly, everyone jaywalks in New York. That's just how the world works here. So I mean, I'm obviously biased in some way there. But I mean, the other aspect of that though is like, life is still life, right? I mean, like, who is the arbiter that decides that this person's life is worth less than the person's in the car's life? Yes, they're not immediately breaking the law at that very moment, but I mean, why does that mean that they should live over the other people just because they broke a minor law? We break minor laws all the time.
Okay, I'm gonna run some ads, but then we'll be right back. But like, okay, what if like I was using a wood chipper?
Okay.
And I threw like a fucking
Fargo?
I threw a brick in it or something like that. And then there's two options. The wood chipper can be like, whoa, somebody threw a brick in me, I'm going to explode and kill the person running the wood chipper. Or it can kill the person that's just like walking around, minding, like following the rules of the road. right? It could shoot the
Okay.
brick out and blow their fucking head off.
Okay.
And then they'll be like, well, you're not supposed to throw a brick in the wood chipper, but, you know, it's everybody's broken the law at some point,
So, but the thing is, I don't know if throwing, like, literally doing
Don't
something
bring
that-
reality into this situation, okay?
I'm just saying, if you're doing something to put yourself and others in harm's way immediately, then, you know, I think in that case it's pretty clear. But I mean, I don't think jaywalking is necessarily that. I mean, it's like the same. That's more along the lines of like, should I be able to kill a person if they have a gun pointed at me and their aim is to kill me? Right. That's more along the lines of the wood chipper thing.
Okay, what was your answer on that one?
I think if your life is in immediate danger and the only option is to kill them, yeah, I guess. I mean, I would say so.
Okay, what if there's a woman, right?
Okay.
And she's running.
Yeah.
All right. And then at the end of her run, she jumps over a pole, but her booty happens to knock into the.
I made a team called the Jaywalkers, so I'm
not saying stand your ground, Chad. I'm just saying that, like, I'm not defending that. I'm saying that, like, if a guy is like, I'm about to shoot you with this gun that I have in my hand, and that is assured, right? Like, this is a hypothetical, right? This is a philosophical hypothetical.
Though? It is for now.
You know that this person is going to kill you, whether that's possible in real life or not in any situation. But in this particular hypothetical situation, you know that person is going to kill you. And your only way of surviving is to kill them. I don't know. I think you do it. I actually, this is something that I wanted to bring up. Ryan, I know I've told Nick about this, and I think I've told Austin as well, and I think Nick already knew, so you guys might as well. But have you heard of the fat man and the train car dilemma?
Yes, oh yeah, of course.
Yeah,
and they've been doing they've been Harambeing that nonstop lately.
That's basically what this whole thing is. I mean, it is essentially that.
Okay. You're in a car with your baby. A pregnant woman jaywalks in front of you. She's holding a gun and pointing it towards you, but
double-barrel shotgun. Yeah.
Behind her is Harambe. Do you hit the pregnant jaywalker threatening to shoot you and your baby, knowing you have to kill Harambe as well? Or do you swerve into the barrier, Harambe gets to live, and you and your baby die?
I mean, I don't know if I want to kill the ghost of Harambe. The internet would hate me.
That's true. You would probably be dead anyway, so...
Yeah, that's true.
They'd get you.
Harambe would survive. He's a tough motherfucker. I don't know, man. It's like, who's the arbiter of whose life is more important?
Well, okay, Rob, I know I can rely on you to take the conversation to an absurd level here. Okay, what if you have the legally crossing dogs versus the jaywalking humans?
Oh, you go for the dogs.
Okay, well, we're all on the same page.
Honestly, for me, that's clear cut. Yeah. Unfortunately,
I mean, you're not like, sweet, I hit the dogs. Yeah, you're like, it's still
excited about it. Dogs. It's gonna hurt me to kill the dogs, but at the end of the day, I do value human life over animal life.
Have we considered hitting the brakes in this?
I want
to. Oh, I could have just stopped. Oh man.
You know, if you're a trucker, at least in America, I don't know, and I've heard now that this is also true in the UK. You need a Class 2 driving license, right, to be a trucker. My dad was a trucker at one point.
I got no fucking idea.
Well, my dad was a truck driver in America, and they teach you, you know, at when you take that Class 2 driving test, that if you have two options to swerve into a tree. Yeah. Or swerve into a crowd of 20 people. They teach you to swerve into the crowd of 20 people.
That's super fucked.
I know, right?
There was a group of people in chat that are like, if I pay 50 grand for a car, I want that car to protect me and my family at all costs. And I'm like, I mean, I can't necessarily say that that's immoral. I disagree, but I can understand. You'd be like, I'm buying something that is going to like make the decision to kill me someday, possibly. That's pretty fucked up.
Mm-hmm. You ever been in a car accident before?
I got in a small one when I was like 4. To be honest with you, probably shouldn't have been driving in the first place.
I totaled my car 1 month after I got my driver's license.
Oh,
yeah.
I'm sure your parents were happy that they let you get your driver's license after that.
Oh well, no, I mean it wasn't my fault, so I got a bunch of
Actually,
money.
The government issues driver's licenses as well, not your parents.
Really? Oh man, I really don't know a lot about cars then.
It's scary though, like when you like hit another car going like 60 and like your vision goes all like blurry and like, ugh. Yeah, it was scary as hell. Like,
yeah,
it's like
I'd imagine
10 seconds of like your body you can't see or hear or like anything.
Did you see the video from Canada actually, where the guy's going straight on a green light and then the lady turns left into him, and then there's like the dash cam footage? There's this old man just shouting like, "She had the right of way," and you're watching the video. She did not have the right of way. What is this dude shouting it for? I don't understand. He's just being a little bitch about it.
It was really weird.
Where'd
he come from?
I don't know. He like immediately took her side.
Can I tell you guys about the one time I was in a car accident?
Yeah, well, please.
I was driving with Dennis. Some of you guys know Dennis. Actually, you all know Dennis. Yeah,
Hey,
you all know Dennis. Yeah.
I'm one fucked up Dennis.
when he drives, he has one hand on the wheel and the other hand on the radio dial at all times.
Not
and
okay.
We listen to about 30 seconds of each song, and he switches all over and over again. Thing is, he looks at the radio while he does this. So anyway, we're going around a corner off of a highway, and I'm like, oh Jesus Christ, this is. I'm like gripping the seats, like this is not gonna end well.
That's
and he's
me when
looking
my
at the
mom's
radio
driving.
dial. Yeah. Anyway, it turns out, as you expect, he smashes into a wall, which strangely, strangely, the wall is like a bunch of jagged rocks on the ground. I don't know why, but it pokes like this big ass hole in the front of his car, and we just back up and drive away.
Wow.
Why do all of your scenarios end completely opposite of like how they're supposed to end? Just don't understand.
It's New York, baby.
Yeah, we got into a fight and killed 2 dudes at a bar, and then we just get up and walked away. Nothing happens.
Yeah, pretty much. How do you guys feel about self-driving shotguns?
I think a self-driving gun should maximize death.
That is basically how they work, yeah, with the drones and whatnot.
All right, what do we even have available
Dungeon
here?
spoilers.
What are you doing?
What's the name of the train car dilemma?
Harambe's,
There's like a name. There's a proper
Harambe's
name
box.
for it. Yeah, that's the one.
Base box.
Yeah, it's about, do you kill the gorilla if it touches a child, or if it gets a
Excuse
taste
me?
for human flesh?
I mean, that's a question for the lawmakers, not for us. What if you were in your self-driving car?
Okay.
In the left lane, there's 4 paying Twitch subscribers jaywalking, and in the right lane, there's 4 viewers who have never subscribed.
Yeah.
Crossing legally. Who do you hit?
You know, you hit the subs because they're loyal. They'll understand.
I
Honestly,
say you turn sideways and hit them all.
Oh.
changes nothing for me. If you're jaywalking, you're like a war criminal in my mind. So
Why do you hate jaywalkers so much?
it's
You really
annoying,
seem
man.
to.
Is it really like the worst thing in the world though? Like
It's deserving of death.
I don't know. I'm not saying it's deserving of death. I'm just saying if 2
Yeah, you
people.
are.
No, I'm saying.
You're expressly
I'm not saying
that.
if you jaywalk, a laser should come out of space and just kill you dead. I'm just saying if your jaywalking is going to cause a death, either of a driver of a car or of yourself, it should be you.
I don't know, man. Oh, my worm's on the phone.
So you'd be
It's
like,
got
Miaz in
Rob,
my chat says the dilemma is called "Would you kill the fat man?" And thank you, Funk Missile, for the 6 months to know.
you're at NYC. You're going to the bodega to pick up a copy of Us
Yeah.
Weekly and a bagel sandwich, and then you're like, hey, we don't even look at the lights here. Who cares? And then you just cross the road, and a self-driving car swerves and like hits a telephone pole and explodes. You're like, only in New York. Everybody jaywalks here.
I mean, yeah, a little bit.
Wait,
Oh,
so,
it worked!
that was actually really good.
Yeah.
But what are you gonna say, like, to that guy's family? You're gonna be like, well, he shouldn't have been driving on a green.
I mean, everyone kind of takes a risk when you go outside, or when you're just awake, or even when you're asleep. You just kind of, there's a chance that you'll die at any time. You know? I'm just saying. I don't think it's fair for anyone to be the arbiter of whose life is more valuable than the other.
I keep
So what if
thinking you're
we-
gonna say the arbiter of whose line is it anyway.
What if we live in Ryan's true utopia and the NYPD hires thousands upon thousands of driverless cars to hunt down and kill anyone who jaywalks immediately? Would that be better? Because then you don't have to be the arbiter anymore. The NYPD just kills you dead immediately.
Why do I have an old lady?
No, she walks around and farts.
Someone said they lost a lot of respect for me. I'm just saying I don't know if the jaywalker should die or the car driver should die. Is that?
I mean, okay.
Loss of respect?
I go outside, I shoot my gun up straight up in the air, and then if a bullet comes down and hits somebody, why is that my fault? We all take a risk when we go outside on a daily
But
basis.
Is driving a car akin to that, really?
I don't know. I mean, I'm trying to take little Susie to ballet practice.
Yeah,
Well, you fire your Uzi into the air.
Right, it's the Jaywalkers that are firing the Uzi in the air.
Well, then they're the ones that'll get hit by the bullets, not you. Don't worry. True justice is real.
I don't know, man. It's a complex dilemma. Also, I will say, chat, you should, if you don't know what we're talking about with the Fat Man, you guys should read that, because it is important. But you don't read the Fat Man one first. Read the ones leading up to it.
Ooh.
Before then.
Fire looks nice.
Yeah, fire looks. You really get a bounce off that now.
Good lord.
Uzis for Susie.
Oh, here we go.
There's like New Year's celebrations where people actually fire guns into the air, and every so often people do actually get hit.
I'm just gonna fire my gun in the air, and if you get hit, it's your fault.
I shoot my gun up in the air sometimes.
Rob, get out of my chat.
Sorry, someone said it. It's called the trolley problem. That.
Oh yeah.
What a defining name.
What if Rob and Josh were in your car and Kate was jaywalking? Yo, that's a hypothetical, because Kate has respect for the walk and do not walk signal. That's what bonded us together.
What if she was?
Then there's the only logical explanation is that it's some kind of shapeshifter, or like an alien has taken control of Kate's body, in which case I would hit the jaywalker and then peel off the skin and be like, whoa, stay woke, guys, there's an invasion coming.
Where did stay woke come from?
Dan Giesling.
Yeah, that's a Dan.
Like all
that
memes.
explains it.
I'm just saying,
By
man,
the way-
why jaywalk?
Oh, fuck.
In New York, it's part of the culture, though.
Yeah, but like, why though?
People use
Because they're walking.
I mean, honestly, people use walking as a means of just traveling like anywhere.
Yeah,
in New
no
York.
kidding.
So, I mean, and also cars don't really go all that fast, and also pedestrians always have the right of way in New York. Is the other thing.
I've seen fast cars in New York. Whenever there's not cars in front of them, they go as fast as they can.
Yeah, sometimes. I mean, it depends, right? Like, don't jaywalk on New Year's at 12 at night, right? Because, like, everyone's drunk.
That's much better than, like, is this how people actually live in New York? They're like, okay, if you're going out tonight, sweetie, don't jaywalk, because people are going to be driving their cars drunk. But, I mean, it is only once a year, so, you know, like, who cares? Just, like, let them have their fun for now, but definitely do not jaywalk, because you'll get hit by a drunk driver.
Okay, so one time, when I was younger, it was New Year's. I was going out for a beer run at like 2 a.m. I'm walking down the street with my friend, and a car just very, very slowly just rides slowly into the curb, and the car starts tipping. It's tipping, and then flips completely on its back. Okay.
Were they playing Pokemon Go?
This was years ago, so there wasn't even smartphones. Well, actually, they probably. But what happens though is the weirdest thing, because a group of people, myself and my friend included, without saying any words to each other, just walk over to the car, flip it over on its wheels, and it drives away. And the most important part of this is one of those people was a police officer.
This is like some delirium tremens or something that happened. I refuse to believe.
It fucking happened, yeah, I swear to God. I mean, you could ask my friend. I mean, you don't know my friend, but you could ask him. It happened. It was on New Year's.
All right, I'll ask him.
You should. I'm not kidding. See,
Right
Chad's
now,
not believing me either.
like,
I'm telling you, it happened.
My impression of you, or let me put it this way: my impression,
I can't wait to hear this.
My impression of New York City from you is effectively that it's a city designed by like college sophomores who were like, man, why don't we just, like, not punish people for their crimes? You know, wouldn't society be better? He's like, yeah, man, you know what? In my city, jaywalking's legal. Even if it causes the death of the person legally driving. Yeah, fuck yeah, dude.
I think it's one of those things where it is illegal to jaywalk in New York. It's just that it's not enforced like at all, unless somebody like is like a cop is having a really bad day. Then he'll enforce it.
Jaywalking is such a foreign concept to me because nobody walks where I live.
Yeah.
You have to like drive like 10 miles to get to the nearest building.
It's like a tale of two Americas here.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yo, Chad, don't think that I'm, like, super pro driver. Like, okay, what if you have the choice to fatally collide with one or two cars? Both of them are presently driving legally, but one of them forgot to use their signal light 2 turns ago. Dude who forgot to use his signal light, you know, you're done. I'm sorry. You are the...
So you're
what
so
if his signal light had just broke, though, and he didn't know it?
No, here. What if the guy who didn't use his signal light is Albert Einstein, and the guy who did use his signal light properly is like
Jeffrey Dahmer?
Jeffrey Dahmer, yeah.
How did we both?
I don't know.
We both searched for, like, here's the thought process that must have gone on independently in both of our heads. Well, Adolf Hitler, but then it doesn't really make any sense, you know, for Adolf Hitler to just be driving around like, okay, Jeffrey Dahmer.
That is pretty weird, though.
That is.
But
weird.
also, yeah, I mean, what happens then? Because like then you know who is more value to society? The guy who doesn't follow the law, but he does do positive things for society.
Albert Einstein didn't use his turn signal. In this traffic accident, he's first on the list.
Okay.
Let's see
what
I don't
punishments
want.
Are extremely severe.
Well, it's
just
just because we're in the car that the punishments are severe. If this was like, you know, if you saw him on the street, you know, you gotta kick the shit out of him. No, I'll just like give him a sidelong glance. But if somebody's got to die in a car accident, it's the dude who wasn't driving properly.
No, I'm the opposite of utilitarian. Someone said I'm too utilitarian. I'm the opposite.
What I don't want is the self-driving car being like, all right, well, let's look at like the credit scores of the 4 people in the intersection and the 4 people in the car and determine who has a greater value to society, and like that scares the shit out of me.
Who has a greater chance of buying another car?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's like
that is sort of
the Tesla scans the people and it's like, too poor, too old. All right, but you know, there's a startup CEO in the passenger seat here, so.
Car gets a pass. Kill pedestrians.
That is the that dystopian fear though, right? Of like that everyone is judged on some rating score and that decides whether or not you live or die. Like that would although
Yo, this is a scary thought right here. NL takes the coward's way out with these. He adheres so hard to the letter of the law, he doesn't have to think about the actual moralities of things or take any moral responsibility for himself. You should be frightened of Empty Tree 1, who thinks that he knows better than the laws that we agree upon as a society through checks and balances. That scares the shit out of me, man. First off, you're a viewer. I really appreciate the support. At the same time, on a fundamental philosophical level, I disagree with your central premise.
I mean, I'm kind of with him a little bit, but there is because there are some laws that are wrong.
I don't think you do agree with that premise, Ryan. I think you just haven't thought it through yet.
I agree with that premise.
He's the guy running people over for not signaling, so I mean.
Well, only if someone has to be run over. I'm not running them over for sport.
This is like the Kohlberg's moral development shit right here. Is like Law and Order perspective versus like I forget what the next stage is, but the you know it is just the law the thing that should be followed, because like
that's just dogma,
right? Like you know it is I want to bring up like a non-controversial one, but I can only think of one controversial one. But
all right, a baby is driving the car without a license, and the baby is jaywalking in the intersection. Who should the self-driving car kill?
Probably the lady in that case.
They're both babies.
Oh, the lady is a baby?
They're both babies. The gender's irrelevant, you sexist.
Here's the thing. We all sign on to agree with laws that we agree with. We all are our own independent arbiters of what we agree with. We just happen to sort of cut the difference when it comes to some laws because we can't fundamentally change them all. But we are, in and of ourselves, always using our own moral compass to determine what we agree with when we follow the letter of the law, which is why people break laws all the time, because they don't agree with all laws. Whether that's right or not depends on the law.
Yeah,
because not all laws are created correctly or for the right reasons.
I mean, the one controversial one that seems very loaded that the only example I could think of was like, all right, so slavery was legal. In America
come on now.
I know.
Okay,
why is that wrong?
No, I think I have one.
I understand.
I think I have one that's fair to you guys. And like in Vancouver, you have to wear a bike, or you have to wear a bike when you're going out helmeting. It's very confusing. You have to wear a helmet when you go out biking, and then like a lot of people just ignore this law, and the police don't really enforce it. When they do, it's like a $15 ticket or something like that. So it's like if you got two cyclists in front of you, one of them's not wearing a helmet, one of them is. You got to kill one. Which one do you kill? I don't really feel comfortable being like, just kill the one without a helmet, you know?
Yeah.
But in this case, I think the jaywalking thing, the reason I'm harping on it is because it's the jaywalking thing that's causing the accident. If the jaywalker wasn't there wouldn't be no accident to have, you know?
You're coming from a place where everyone is thinking rationally and doing things for the right reasons, and you have to account for the fact that a lot of people don't.
I don't account for anybody else.
Also, you know, your primary philosophical premise here of your argument is that we are abandoning all other merits that the person driving the car and the person jaywalking has. It's just what they're immediately doing in the moment, right? And is that fair?
There's laws in various parts of the United States that say that sodomy is illegal.
Oh, okay. We're taking like some obvious examples.
Well, but that's important though. That is important, right? Because that's why I brought up the slavery, even though it's loaded. You know, it's like
the
value of a law. The value of a law is really I think subjective. You know, like you need to. There are some laws that I just don't agree with.
Right, but the question wasn't like, you know, slavery. The question is jaywalking. The question is not like, you know, interracial marriages or something like that.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean, I get that too. And yes, fundamentally, I agree that jaywalking probably should be a crime, I guess. I don't know.
I'm not sure I even know.
Oh my god!
I don't know either. Yeah, I really don't. That's why they're saying you cannot do a personal evaluation this way. No one's over jaywalkers. No, yeah,
can you not say it in that voice so I can actually hear what you're saying?
Okay, basically he's saying that like in the moment, the only information that the car has is one person's breaking the law and the other person isn't, right? And I understand that too, right? But I think if we're having these complex. Like, the whole point of this is not the reality, it's the hypothetical, right? It's the moral hypothetical. So, and I think if we're analyzing the moral hypothetical, then I think there should be more considerations than just, you know,
Rob,
whether or not someone's breaking the law in that very moment.
Your interpretation frightens me.
Does it?
That it's like there's no considerations that would fit everyone's proper criteria, so the only option is to do it randomly.
All right, Nick says kill them all, let God sort them out. Rob says disregard who's breaking the law, kill the people who have the least value to society.
I didn't necessarily say that, but I think that's something that should be talked about, perhaps. But I mean, I don't know.
I'm not comfortable with having to determine who's of more value.
I'm still trying to piece together the entire scenario because I wasn't here when it was first given. So I know that there's a car. And there's a jaywalker.
I know.
So far, the car may or may not be driving itself. I'm still not
It is self-driving.
It is driving,
except in cases where it's not.
And then there's people on the sidewalk.
No, it's like sometimes it's a mythical road where half the people are crossing legally and half the people are jaywalking.
It's criminals that are crossing legally and non-criminals who are jaywalking. Even though they're actually both criminals by Ryan's definition.
Mm-hmm. And then you know, to that other one where it's like well, the other thing is like in that one where it's like, you know, it's a bunch of criminals or not. are the criminals necessarily like? Do they have less value than the other regular people?
You're the dude frightening me with your interpretation of that.
I
say kill the jaywalkers.
You say kill the jaywalkers.
Yeah. What's the point of a reform system for our prisoners when they get back out and then we still hold all kinds of stigma toward them, right? We already freaking don't give them jobs or treat them like equal people. So why should we then freaking hit them with cars?
Are we talking about the jaywalkers or the bank robbers in this situation?
We're talking about
they robbed the bank
and why they should be back at ground zero again once they do their time.
I'm just saying,
serve their penalty.
if there's jaywalkers and bank robbers in a bank, and we're like, who should the security guard shoot? I'm like, shoot the bank robbers, dog. But if there's jaywalkers and bank robbers crossing the street, I'm like, hit the jaywalkers. They're causing the concerns. Oh God!
Oh shit!
It's a little windy out there today.
Hold on, I'm reading more on this. Can you kill the pedestrian? Wait, okay. Say there's someone on a sidewalk and the car is heading for a concrete embankment. Can you kill the pedestrian if they jaywalked yesterday? Actually, I think that was a joke, but it is important. That's another one, right? Like, I mean, you know, like.
Fuck, how many times am I gonna think I'm jumping with that? Oh God.
Are past crimes forgiven in the moment?
This is one of those situations, though, that would never occur, ever.
Oh, that's what you think.
Well, past crimes are being forgiven for the criminals, but why are past crimes being forgiven for the non-criminals?
Yeah.
Right?
Important to note, I totally get your perspective, by the way, right, on the jaywalking thing. It does seem, it seems inherently, no, I get it. It seems inherently like the most clean-cut solution there, because it's like they are the ones causing the problem. But I don't think that human life is so black and white in that way. You know what I mean? I'm just saying.
His perspective from another angle, because I honestly can't understand why his side is the argument.
I mean, it's basically like it's two people get into a situation. One person causes the situation, but one person has to die, right? Like if you're like Rawls' veil of ignorance kind of thing, right? And you eliminate everything else. All
but
other
that's
biases.
A hypothetical. This doesn't pan out in practical reality.
The whole thing is a moral hypothetical, really, you know.
But it has a practical use ultimately, which is why we're discussing it.
Brought you down to my level.
You're fucked though, bud.
3 and 3.
Yeah.
There's so many caveats I feel like we're just ignoring for the sake of the hypothetical that I feel like this has no use.
I think that actually the whole point of like the veil of ignorance is to get to like an objective rather than subjective view on like as like a root for any moral decision is all I'm saying.
You got it, Nick.
Thanks for being on the show today, Austin.
No problem. Hey, you brought this up.
I know, and I'm in many ways I'm willing to take it due to its completely absurd and illogical endpoint. But I don't know. I hope none of you guys ever run for office, because like I'll get a beer with you, but like I would vote for whoever's running against you in a mayoral race. There's no question about it.
Yeah, that's fair.
Leave me alone.
Okay, Austin.
Yeah.
You're jaywalking.
Okay.
Wait, you're still on your...
Yeah, I didn't realize that was on my turn. That bullet might come down. Someone in chat was just like, honestly, fuck Rob. Hey man, this isn't the first time this whole dilemma was brought up.
There's like
somebody just called me something as well in my chat. I don't really know what the problem is right now.
There's like a pretty equal distribution in my chat of people who are like, Rob's world looks like hell, NL's taking the easy way out, and Nick's not answering the question. Like this is the whole setup right here.
There's no right answer though, right?
There is not. Yeah, there's not.
Chat.
That's the thing. Is like having a strong view one way or the other is fine, but like, you know, it's like this has been discussed by people whose job it is to discuss this for like 100 years, you know. So like, there's no right answer. Far. Yet. Well, I think the trolley problem is from the 40s. I think.
And we still, on a daily basis, just watch this trolley careen into pedestrians, and we have to be like, man, should really stop putting that off.
Yeah, I mean, really, we could just do this hypothetically. We don't actually need a test subject here.
All I'm saying is, like, fucking God help you if I ever get hired at Tesla. And, you know, that, if there's ever a time to pay attention to the walk, don't walk signs, which is, I'm just going to throw it out there, always, definitely start when I begin my my tenure as Elon Musk's second in command.
I mean, I won't lie. If self-driving cars become the main thing, right, and we find out that it'll always hit the jaywalkers, that'll be a pretty good incentive for me to never jaywalk again.
Yeah, that's a good point.
So,
does it remind me to never break like a small law that you might not understand in front of
around right, I'll just shoot you in the fucking head.
No, it's only if the consequences are high.
And if you cause the problem.
Yeah, no, if you cause the problem, I think you get the consequence.
I mean, that's fair. I understand that perspective. I'm not saying one way or the other. I don't really know.
Like, if you steal a candy bar or something like that,
yeah,
and you choke on it and die, I don't necessarily think that's the fault of, you know, the Mars Candy Corporation. Yeah. I don't think you deserve to die because you stole the candy bar. That's ridiculous. You know, that's what we have a legal system for. But if in the moment there's no way to enforce the legal system and you end up dying as a result of your actions, I think, you know, you brought it on yourself.
I actually think, by the way, at least in America, legally the family can still sue the candy company. So that's one of those things where it's like,
till November. Am I right? Okay.
The point of these conversations isn't to reach an actual answer. The point is to understand each other's perspectives on the matter.
Yes.
And, I thought more people got that, but it seems like a lot of people just want the answer. That's not how it works, sadly.
I'm willing to give it to them.
Wait, hold on. Just look at the long-term effects of the situation. On one side, jaywalkers learn not to jaywalk, and the other jaywalkers end up in jail, blah, blah, blah. But, I don't think they learn not to jaywalk. They're just dead now.
Yeah, look at this. That's exactly what my slogan would be if I was running for mayor, by the way. It would be like...
kill?
No, it would be jaywalking, more like jail walking, because that's what you're going to be doing when I get elected.
Yeah.
Sometimes when I'm biking and you come to a stop sign, I do an Idaho stop, which is where you know, look around, you slow down, but you don't fully stop unless you have to.
Oh, the rolling stop.
Do you square turn?
It's called an...
that.
It's called an Idaho stop on a bicycle, actually.
A rolling stop. Do you do the square turn? Because you're supposed to do a square turn, too.
Yeah, I never really go through intersections that require the square turn. But I have been known to do it on occasion when necessary.
That's the most casual, like, NLSS conversation ever. So, like, you take, like, the turn at the intersection or just,
Whoa.
Lethal injection for Idaho stops? Where I live, we call that a California roll. Don't even get started, man. And you know what? If the self-driving car had to choose between me and a legally abiding cyclist, I would say that
here we go.
I would say that it should kill me. I made it.
You say that now while the car is not veering towards.
Well, I just don't see what case I could make for being like, nah, kill the other guy. The other guy was following the rules completely.
There should be a caveat where if you scream "kill me" at the top of your lungs as the car is coming, that it will take that wish under advisement.
Oh, my credit score's in the high 700s. In my country,
maybe you
call
could,
it
like,
Californication.
Maybe you could carry like a belt that you wear that like attracts the self-driving cars if it ever goes into that situation. You know, like an organ donor, you get to choose like if it needs to come down to it, sacrifice me.
Fuck?
It's an assisted suicide belt.
Yeah,
I just pictured
no, that's mine.
Image in my mind of there being like one self-driving car left and everyone else wants to die in this awful world. So they're all just shouting at the side of the road, just kill me! Kill me! And no one's gonna die because there's only one car. They want to die, but they can't.
Wow. That's like a Twilight Zone episode.
Yeah, it is.
I'm into it.
Helicopter shot me in the face.
That's not the Twilight Zone intro. You just a little bit off.
It's Joe Walsh.
Yeah. That's the X-Files. It's also not the Twilight Zone intro.
So no one told you the Twilight Zone was gonna be.
Yep, that's it. You got it.
The show was hosted by 1950s Rod Sterling.
All right, that's pretty good.
Wait, are there some crossovers of the X-Files and the Doctor Who theme?
Hey, I'm
Probably.
Doctor
Reason I
Who,
couldn't
and I'm
remember
here
it.
to say that I'm a time-traveling dude from the UK. My name is Doctor Who. Nobody knows, and that's pretty cool. I got a
Was the
lady
doctor-
too hot for me, and she comes and gets in the phone booth with me. We solve mysteries. Also, there's Daleks, and people online can't stop tweeting about the show, Alex.
All the time.
Listen, I don't remember the crossover of Sugar Hill Gang and Doctor Who.
Bye, Cecil the Lion.
That was a good shot. Hey, everybody, time for Game of Thrones. Show us your nipples and your bones. We got lots of murdering people, and we got dragons in the sequel that you'll never see because the show only airs 10 episodes a decade.
Spoiler.
I think that rhyme suffered from the fact that you've never seen Game of Thrones a little bit.
Hey there, Rob. I'm Sean Bean, the star of Game of Thrones. Can't wait to be around for the series' complete entire run.
I want every sentence to start with, "Hey there, Rob, I'm Sean."
Hey there, Sean Bean.
I want Sean Bean to make a rap. Can we get Sean Bean on the show next time?
Oi.
And then kill him at the end?
You can get me on the show right now.
No, he dies and everything.
Not everything, mate. Have you seen the second to
Also
last?
not Australian.
Have you seen the second to last episode of season 1 of Game of Thrones? I didn't die in that, did I?
Kill him at the end.
Did you
What is
know-
Sean Bean a jaywalker?
I'm very afraid of helicopters. On the set of Lord of the Rings, I chose to walk up the mountain every day.
No!
Is that just Michael Caine? That's just Michael Caine.
No!
I appreciate you. Kind of went for the Northern English
I've never
accent
been in a
little
film
bit.
with Sir Michael Caine, but he seems like a good guy.
All right, that was more Michael Caine.
My toe!
This never ends, man.
Oh, I thought I was dead. Oh,
yeah,
fuck.
like me too.
I don't know what to do, man.
My toe!
Teleport. You got to teleport.
Do
Come
I?
over here. Hang out with the.
I found the hot wire again.
Did you?
Yeah, it's underneath my desk. I kept touching it with my tongue. I could never figure out where
Oh
it came
my
from. This
God.
time I saw it. It's the little white wire.
America scares me. Like, jaywalking's okay. Some of your wires are hot. What's going on down there?
No, that's not an American thing. Wires should not be hot.
I gotta get out of here, Ryan.
I mean, if you coil them up, they'll get hot.
Get me into Canada where the wires are cool.
Honestly, we're full.
And the wild buffalo roam.
I was thinking, like, if Canada could have, like, 1/30th as many people, that'd be pretty sick.
Take me up to Vancouver City where the wires aren't hot and nobody jaywalks.
I
This
don't
is
want to
probably gonna hurt
send
my
you the
thing a
wrong
lot.
message. People do still jaywalk here.
How many jaywalkers a day would you murder optimally?
I mean, optimally 0.
No,
you
that doesn't
dogs
make any
and jaywalkers. You love killing them.
I'm just
Clearly,
saying,
you want more than 0.
no. If jaywalkers are jaywalking and not precipitating an accident, jaywalk away, baby.
Fire in the hole.
Like into a death chamber,
Whoa, jeez.
right?
It becomes
No,
a
I'm
lot
saying
worse
what
when you.
I'm saying what you think you
It
want.
becomes a lot worse when you call it a chamber.
Well, you gotta execute them somewhere. You can't just do it in the street.
Certain level of like industrial premeditation involved in that. We had to get like engineers
Yeah,
consulted.
you're programming robots to kill them.
No, I'm programming robots to let them die. As a result of their own actions. Heath Bar Swag, thank you very much for the subscription.
I don't know if I've ever eaten a Heath bar before.
What is a Heath Bar?
I think it's like, what, a toffee maybe? Is it a toffee-based bar?
Which one is... The Cliff Bar is the one that's like healthy. Or it's meant to be used by people who care about what they're eating.
It's a big red dog, actually.
Well, that's what they use to make the Cliff Bar. It's got 15 grams of protein per serving.
Yeah, this comes from the dog's paws.
Human life in a nutshell here. One person said Heath bars are the best. One person said Heath bars are goddamn disgusting. And they're right next to one another in chat. I don't know what to believe at this point.
There was a post on either Circle Jerk or your
I did.
subreddit.
I saw that
was like,
actually.
Northernlion is so right. Northernlion is completely wrong.
That's
like back to back.
It's the genesis of like all of our discussions on the show, or not the genesis, the consequence. But you know, there was also one that this dude was like, "Hey, I work at Kroger in the deli counter. Ask me anything." And
I like those.
What I really liked was when someone was like, "Proof," and he was like, "Dude, why would I lie about working in the deli counter at Kroger?" And then the guy was like, "You know what? That's proof enough for me."
Yeah, I agree. Same here.
If I lived in NL's world, I would kill him. Yo, that's a terrifying message, man, because even though my deli counter opinions might be a little fascist, is that worthy of being murdered? If I lived in your world, I would take some kind of trans-dimensional portal to get out of it, because it sounds like people can be murdered for just social slights. That's a world I don't want to live in right there.
Maybe if they jaywalk, then they could also be murdered.
I didn't say that all jaywalkers should be murdered. I said if there's no way to avoid a death that was caused by jaywalkers, the jaywalkers should face the brunt of that punishment.
I think you specifically said that you would hire a robot army of sentient cars to kill everyone who crosses
Look, if the cars were smart enough to kill all the jaywalkers, they would never let themselves be ruled by a human master. That's all I'm saying.
Nobody rules the cars. That's why they're killing the humans.
Exactly.
The Matrix 4.
Nick, you strike me as the kind of person who knows your Myers-Briggs personality type. Is this correct?
I'm an NJ.
Okay, what does that mean?
I don't remember. You'd have to ask Rob.
You're not a violent J, though. We've already established that.
No, I'm more of a Shaggy 2 dope. I like them both, but I think Shaggy's more relatable because his nuts stretch so long.
I don't know what it means. I see people put it in their... Ah! I almost killed myself accidentally. I see people put it in their Twitter profile, and I'm just like, I don't know what that means. Am I supposed to have like a different way of speaking to these people based on the Myers-Briggs personality type?
Yeah, it's like an astrology sign. You're supposed to be able to understand my personality type based on that, and then basically designate the proper answers to what I say based on it.
See, maybe that's my problem, is that sometimes I'm talking to int J's, like they're int P's, and then I don't get the responses I want.
Just treat everyone like they're a Pisces, not an MP, and...
Oh my god.
I don't actually know what I'm talking about anymore.
NL is an int J? I don't know. Nick, what's my Myers-Briggs personality type?
You'd have to take the test.
Well, why don't you just pretend that you are the test and test me?
The problem with that is that I hardly remember anything about the test. I took it one night at like 2 a.m., and then we talked about it, me and Rob, for like 4 hours.
All right.
And that's about as far as I went with that whole thing.
In all honesty, I think it's better with you not remembering any of the questions and trying to formulate them as you go. So...
All right. Well, one of the big ones was a lot to do with self-driving cars.
Oh, dope!
Who should be killed.
Okay, yeah, I'm ready.
So, I feel like we've covered this ground already. I could probably move on to the next one.
Okay, that's fine, yeah. Kill them all.
There was a big section
on
on deli meats and how to react to standing in line.
Oh, fuck, I'm dead. God damn it, shit.
Oh, no.
Chewbacca. Can we just do the Myers-Briggs personality tests live on Twitch?
It was fairly long. I think it took me like 40 minutes or so.
Strict observance of the established rules is likely to prevent obtaining a good outcome. Is if you follow the rules, you're unlikely to get a good outcome. I strongly disagree with that. But Dan is a big yes on that one, for sure. You value justice higher than mercy. Ooh, that's actually a no there, for sure.
That's a difficult one for me.
I value justice, but I also value mercy.
Yeah, I'd like to ideally have them both coupled together if possible. Is mercy and compassion the same thing?
Maybe.
In the context of justice?
See,
probably not.
You need like a test sitter here.
To keep me going. I'll sit on one question.
Every question goes into like 5 different questions here.
Yes.
Okay, you ready? You ready, Nick?
Yeah, let's hear it.
I am an ENTJ.
Oh, sweet.
I am 3% extroverted, 12% intuitive, and 25% thinking, 22% judging.
So you're an NJ and I'm an INTJ. That's funny.
Well, I have marginal or no preference of extroversion over introversion.
Oh.
So I'm kind of just like an NTJ, and then take it or leave it.
Just leave the I and the E off, I guess.
think so, yeah. You have a slight preference of intuition over sensing. I basically don't know what that means. You have a moderate preference of thinking over feeling. A robot, I suppose. And you have a slight preference of judging over perceiving. That's probably true based on the deli counter discussion. Well, now I have a complete understanding of why I am the way I am. And time to pop that bad boy up in the Twitter profile.
But I'm an INTP, actually.
I'm an int J, right? That's what we landed on, I think.
I could see that for you, yeah.
I don't buy any of that test, for the record.
It's half and half in the psychological community as to whether or not it has any validity.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's pseudo-intellectual horoscopes.
It is to a degree, yeah. I mean, but I think ideally we would have a perfect test for personality at some point in the future, and we could base things off of that. Actually,
I think the perfect test for psychology is the discussion about who would you run over if you were in a self-driving car.
Right? Yeah. No, that's pretty good. Yeah.
It's an awful suggestion.
That's by answering in that fashion. I know exactly the kind of person you are. Worst thing to hear from your GPS. In 2 miles, do a barrel roll. In 2 miles, hit the Jaywalkers. In 2 miles, get eaten alive by hell beasts. Or in 2 miles, your son will call his stepdad Papa.
It's actually Dada.
It's Pop.
Wait, I can do that better.
Yeah. Pepe actually wants you to do an aileron roll. Actually,
Pepe.
Is that a type of sushi?
Pepe. Never guess which one of these is mine. Gets eaten alive by hell beasts. 3%.
Oh, shit. Fuck you all.
Do a barrel roll. 17%.
Who cares?
Yeah, I'm with you on that, actually.
Hit the Jaywalkers. 40%? What?
Wow.
How does this math work out? Your son will call his dad Papa. 41%.
Oh. Wait, that doesn't make any sense. Wasn't something 15%?
Yeah, but Nick got
that's
3.
101%, isn't it?
Oh, well, I didn't get I didn't answer, but I don't think that.
Yeah, that's more than 100%.
Yeah, that's way more.
Nick still won.
That's 101%, dude.
I had some strong answers. Let's admit that at least.
I think you should be able to sample.
Okay.
And that's that. And that's the bottom line!
Well, the thing isn't about whether you want to do it, it's whether the store lets you.
I'll put the system on trial. They definitely let me last time. I got away with it. Sampling is worse than jaywalking? That's ridiculous.
Freaking car comes through the store window. Just nails you.
What do you mean sampling is worse than jaywalking? When was the last time sampling caused the car accident? I'm gonna guess the answer is probably never, but, you know, I don't like to say things with certainty that I'm not necessarily 100% certain of. But I'm having a hard time imagining the situation being concocted, in which case this took place. Here's the thing, do you care about human life, or do you care about money? That's the question of whether or not you prefer sampling to jaywalking. If you prefer human life to the pursuit of the almighty aller, then you're pro-sampling, anti-jaywalking. Well,
Brian had a story about a cop in Vancouver that shot the tip of some guy's dick off, and he never wants to talk about that.
Well, I didn't see the follow-up.
I just want to know if he actually shot the tip of his dick off, or if
what
that
happened to
was
his
just
dick?
an
I mean,
exaggeration.
I like the idea of it. So, I don't necessarily want to ruin it. I want to continue to think that I live in a city where people get the tips of their dick shot off.
And it cauterizes the wound, too, so he's probably okay. He just lost the tip.
Well, I mean, that makes me feel safe. Is like, you know, hey, jaywalkers. I'm gonna shoot
they should probably have the tips of their dicks.
I'm gonna shoot the tip of your dick off.
That's pretty rude, man. You don't want to. What are they gonna do with the rest of the dick if they don't have the tip?
Doesn't bother
Throw
me.
it away.
No, anybody else actually just losing because you spawn on an angle?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that just happened to me. Yeah.
All right. Maybe like if I jump as much as possible, I can slow down and not stroke out completely.
I know that feeling.
Oh, fudge.
Oh,
You really gotta slow it down.
Oh, Madrina's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater. Madrina's.
Honestly, that's a good life lesson, chat. If you feel like you're gonna stroke out, just slow down a little bit. You know, maybe switch to some moral.
Rob.
I'm just saying.
Who's the person here who's most likely to jaywalk?
When I feel like I'm gonna stroke out, I reach for a tall glass of Madrina's coffee.
I'm just gonna say I jaywalk literally every morning.
All right, well that answers our question then.
What's the meta with that? Ryan did some like moral conundrum, and he's like, I don't like jaywalkers.
No, I just said if a car accident is being caused by jaywalkers, I want my self-driving car to hit them instead of swerving me to avoid them.
Well, what if the car is a white Ford Fiesta?
I hope that it would be, honestly.
Versus not hitting a person?
No, versus like killing you or killing the jaywalker.
Me being someone who walks on the sidewalk?
Well, no, you being like the driver of the car.
Oh, Rob, that was so close.
I know.
So you'd rather swerve and kill a human?
No, I'm. If a jaywalker is in front of you and you have to steer and put yourself into a pole to avoid the jaywalker.
You put yourself in a hole. Never mind. I'm not gonna finish.
What is it even?
What were you gonna say, Dan?
Nothing. Out of respect, I didn't say it. Out of respect. No, but so you'd kill an innocent person.
They're not innocent if they're jaywalking. They're the whole reason for the accident.
See, this is why he hates jaywalkers. You see, this is the worst crime you can commit.
What's the worst crime you guys have committed that we haven't admitted to yet?
Can't.
You don't have to.
You can't. There's no statute of limitations on mine.
I've actually committed a crime.
Oh, you've committed a crime.
Like maybe one of those like bullshit ones that you don't know is even a crime.
Moida.
You know, but like.
Okay, here's some true revelations.
True crime streets of LA.
True revelations on the NLSS. True revelations. That anyone here committed a crime and got busted by the police?
Yes.
Yes.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Spill up, my friendos.
2 open containers.
Oh,
Where?
you did that back to back. That's the best story.
They were on back-to-back nights.
Same cop.
The same cop, too?
No, it wasn't the same cop.
I thought you said same cop.
I said if you're a cop, you gotta tell me.
So you told the cop?
No, I didn't tell the cop that.
What happened? Were you a little egg just getting into Grandpa's cough medicine?
Oh, get out of here, Dan.
No, it was second year of university. I was only 18. Legal drinking age is 19, but I was carrying an open container on the street, walking around the Christmas tree.
Who did you think you were? Like Catfish Hunter or something? Just walking around the streets?
No, everybody was doing it.
Oh, everybody was.
So if everyone was jaywalking, does that make it all right?
I probably would, yeah. If 3 of my friends jaywalked, I would probably jaywalk with them to keep the flow going.
Wait, so what happened?
Wait.
Did you get like flashlighted in your eyes, or what? How did it go down?
No, just like, I got played. They just gave me a ticket. Just
But were you like jacking around and like yelling? Like,
no, I wasn't jacking around. I'm a good boy, Dan.
Did they cuff you?
Yeah, they cuffed me. Put me in the electric chair. They were like, we're gonna flip the switch. I was like, don't do it. And then they flipped it, but there was no power. And they're like, let that be a lesson to you.
Promise never to carry a beer around again.
Yeah, you can find that episode of Scared Straight somewhere.
No, I didn't try to get out of it.
Why not?
Actually,
because I did the crime and I'll do the time. How about you, Dan?
You had to do time for it?
No, I didn't do time. I worked to pay the fine, I guess, but.
Wait, you worked?
I worked. You
like,
work to get money, and then you pay the fine.
Not
like in an orange vest?
Oh,
no, not in an orange vest.
Oh. He went to his regular job.
Got money and
an ankle bracelet.
Yeah,
could have been spent on beer.
Wait, no, okay, but how about you guys?
Wait, you didn't tell you got busted 2 days in a row? Same thing?
It's the same story both days.
At the same spot? What kind of delinquent were you in
university? It was rush week, man.
You can't.
Were you in a fraternity?
He
No,
didn't have his degree.
No, we just rush week means something different in Canada. You just listen to a lot of Rush.
Nice, right.
Wait, so you just like, alright, I got
No, wait. Your turn. No more waiting, okay?
Wait,
no, wait.
You said you got busted twice.
I did get busted twice. It's the same story both times.
Like, you have a disregard for law, and you're just like...
Well, you know, at the time, I was like, you know, what are the odds it happens again? I got mine out of the way.
All right, Bear, when did you get in trouble?
I don't want to talk about it.
Okay.
It's like gun smuggling. Austin? I can see Austin having like a really like messed up one.
Wow.
Jeez.
No, I just remember, dude. I was speeding one time. Got a
Oh,
ticket.
this guy.
Wow.
That's
Yeah,
way
with
worse than an
fucking
open
highlight.
container, man.
What's the rush speed, racer?
I was going home from Houston to my home, and it was like 5 hours, and I was on 610, and everyone,
Wow.
if you've been to Houston, you know, fuck 610, right? So they got like 10 lanes, and the speed
Rob.
limit's like 2 miles an hour. It's awful.
Rob, you ever get busted by the authorities?
Several times, yes.
Yeah, I was gonna say I can predict like at least 6 times.
There's a good deal of times in my
What's the best one?
history. The one that was like the stupidest is like the other ones are like, you know, obvious ones like, you know, open container kind of thing.
Oh, wait, no. Tell me the exact story of how this happened.
I'm like, you know, you're on the street, you know how it is.
Couldn't
Actually, there
possibly
was-
fathom this circumstance coming to pass.
But what are you guys doing walking around with open containers? Like that's like
Pre-drinking before you go to like a party or
yeah. Why don't you go to a dorm or 4 walls with a floor and a
'Cause you're
door?
walking
You
to the
start in
party.
dorm.
Yeah, sometimes you got a pregame. Once I had to chug a whole 40 in a pizzeria bathroom.
Okay,
that
actually, that is frightening.
I did it in like 5 minutes. I was so sick after that. It was great.
What is it? Was it a Swedish pizzeria?
It was not a Swedish pizzeria.
All right, so what's the worst thing, Robbie?
The stupidest one was it was my birthday and I was out drinking and I had been playing with this golf ball my friends so I was just bouncing a golf ball around. My friends that didn't go out drinking had like a movie night in the dorm area, and I could see them through the window. So Drunken Rob thought it was a good idea to toss the golf ball up into the window, thinking it would, you know, hit the window and scare them. It didn't hit it did hit the window. I didn't realize I had the precision to hit this four-story window in one shot, but I did.
That's the human brain is a wonderful thing.
Yeah. So it smashed right through, and then in my brilliance, I was there with my roommate at the time. We ran, and when we ran back into our building using our cards to swipe in at the exact time that the ball went through the fucking window. So yeah.
So what happened? Did you get booked?
Yeah, I got arrested.
What? Did you really?
Yeah. Actually, they put you got my thumbprints, my fingerprints, and you know, I had the handcuffs and everything.
Wow.
Did you have a mugshot?
I don't know. Maybe.
You don't remember?
Did they don't like sneak those? I feel like you'd probably be pretty well aware of it if it was happening.
Well, it was funky because like so essentially the guy, the trooper was threatening to arrest my friend who wasn't part of it. So eventually,
he was part of it. He was
no. My friend who wasn't there, and so I just confessed, and I was just like, fuck it.
Yo, any confession that was conceived during a time of duress is not legally admissible, man. You need to get a good wife on that shit.
No, I'm talking about the good wife.
I'm not gonna stop talking about the good wife.
Talk about the good wife.
Good wife.
Ass them up.
How about you,
What the fuck
Dan?
do you do on the stage?
But I know now, by the way, chat, don't talk to the police. Don't ever do it.
Or maybe like another lesson that you could have learned is don't throw a golf ball through your friend's window.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's the main lesson, I'd say, but that's an obvious one. But also, don't talk to the police.
How about you, Dan?
What about me?
Oh, this guy.
You think a guy like me comes within 6 inches of sniffing the law? No, for me, anytime if I was doing something that I wasn't supposed to be doing, and say some lights showed up at a college situation, I was gone. Like, I would leave groups of friends. I'd be hopping fences. I'd be, Marty McFly in it. I'd be in and out. I
had my fair share of that too. That's always fun.
It's so good.
One time, the states or the security at my school woke me up. I was in a drunken blackout state, and I fell asleep in a chair in the dorm's like common area. And they woke me up with a light, and they were like, oh, "Hey, you got to get up. Who the fuck are you?" I was like, "I don't know. I live down the hall." And they're like, "Is that yours?"
Alpaca Patrol, fools.
And they're like, "Is that yours?" And I was like, "Is what mine?" And they pointed to a fire extinguisher that was next to me, and I was like, "No." But in reality, it was.
Oh, this is Blitzball. Blitz egg.
It's Blitz egg.
It's my fire extinguisher.
Wait, did Mel tell us when he got busted by the Mounties? Did you tell that story?
I've almost been arrested in 3 countries.
What's the third country?
I actually have quite a few stories now that I'm thinking about it.
For illicit activities in the open in Sweden?
Sweden.
A few, the easy ones are it's dumb speeding tickets. Get those out of the way. I once woke up in a drunk tank defending a coworker in Saskatchewan.
Disconnected.
What?
Oh yeah.
There's that.
There's a robot.
It's all right. It's only 30 seconds per hole, so.
Wait, so how do you end up in a drunk tank?
There was this, like, on the project site there's like this monthly party at the project manager's house, and we just, I don't know, drank a lot of alcohol there. I don't even remember, but one of the dudes drove us to the casino and dropped us off. And then I don't remember being in a casino. And then I wake up at 6 a.m. in the drunk tank, hungover, and then we wait a couple hours. They let us out, and I'm like, "What did I do?" And the guy's like, "Oh, you were just like kind of like trying to break up the fight that your coworker there tried to like beat up a couple cops at the casino."
Wow! Oh my god!
I was like, "Oh, okay." So I was like, so that was good.
Mel, no offense, but you're like 5'4". You're not breaking up any fights.
I'm 5'6", and I'll shoot you right in the nuts with my 5 knuckles.
Get out of the way! Rob Dildo Gaggins, thank you for the subscription.
That's a good name.
And I almost got arrested in Amsterdam for peeing on a building. And what's great was a car pulled in kind of like the little alleyway, and I thought it was just like the homeowners. So I scurried away. I was like, I'm sorry.
I can see you scurrying.
I really tried.
Like a little rat.
And then they backed up, and then they like drove forward and then cut me off. And then that's when I realized I walked away from some cops. And then they started talking to me, and I didn't know what they were saying. Fortunately, a coworker spoke Dutch, and and just told them that basically I'm an idiot. And then they got a call on the radio of like somebody getting stabbed. So they're like, the guy pointed to me and he said, "You're very lucky. You're very lucky." And they had to go.
You're very lucky someone got stabbed.
Pretty much.
I actually just forgot that this one time I almost got arrested in a foreign country as well. I was in Rio de Janeiro wearing my silver medals. And then the cop pulled me over and put a gun to my face. And at the end. He told me to get on the ground, and I was like, okay, whatever.
You know, in West Philadelphia.
Okay, don't be ridiculous.
I kind of really want to know Bear's story, but I'm not going to push him because it sounds like...
I don't know if he's here.
No, he's here.
His internet
died. He disconnected at one point.
Bear's always here. All right, can we just take a like quick outlandish guess as to, and I'm not going to ask Bear, but can anyone guess what he did? Do you think it's like gun smuggling across the Canadian border?
Yep. Yes, jerking off in a phone booth.
I can't see Bear doing that.
That's exactly why he did it. Delivery industry is taking off in Toronto. There's so many of them. There's Favors, there's Uber Eats, there's Foodora, there's Just Eat, there's like
Foodora.
Foodora, yeah.
Foodora.
I doff my Foodora at you.
I don't, m'lady. M'ladle.
But it's crazy. Like, if you buy like something that's $15, say you get like a nice burger, a drink, and some fries, like from a decent burger place. By the time it gets you, it's $30.
Yeah.
It's a little crazy. So it's like, I guess it incentivizes maybe doing a bigger order with few people, but if you're just by yourself and you're like, I really want some burgers, priest, right now, you gotta fork over $30, man.
I mean, it's for a place that doesn't do delivery, right?
Right.
So basically, you're paying a dude to go in there and be like, "Hey, make this, and then I'll take it to you."
Yes.
Okay. I understand.
I mean, like, the apps have integration with the stores, so it'll tell you, like, if they're working on the order, and then, okay, so-and-so is going to be the person going to pick it up and delivering it to you, and they have, like, a GPS tracker, at least on the Uber Eats one. And it's, like, a pretty streamlined process, but, yeah, it ain't cheap. I guess it's, like, if you're that lazy, though, it's like, well I could just get in the car and go.
Well, then do it.
Sometimes.
When the self-driving cars start up, though, it's going to really reduce the cost of that. I think. No?
Maybe.
Like, if an empty car shows up with a pizza in it?
Yeah, but like,
badass.
a car is gonna pull up to the restaurant, and then
somebody has to go.
Yeah, somebody's gonna get out of the restaurant and be like, "Oh, the Ford Fiesta's here. Just put the pizza in the passenger seat."
It's a bad idea too, because the car would only be able to like do one delivery at a time. Because if it pulls up to the apartment or the house, and somebody else sees like,
oh, you're right. It has to have boxes, different boxes with different keys in them.
Then they're gonna take that. So.
No. In the back, you open the trunk, and there's like 5 compartments, and each one has a key code, and you get your key code when you place your order.
And those boxes would keep it warm or cold.
Hell yeah, man!
Someone smarter than us will solve this problem.
No,
we just solved it.
Sorry, we did it. Never mind.
We just did it. I got this technology idea from playing Firewatch, actually. They had a scene just like this in Firewatch with you get food delivery. It's weird. They got me when I went in the Empire State Building. Well, I went in with Lynn, and we were like, man, I want to go see the top of the Empire State Building. And like, that'll be $86.
Right.
Like, what?
But like...
No, I want to... You don't understand. I don't want a service. I just want to go look off your building.
Yeah, but like...
That'll be $86.
Well, I mean, the building costs money to make.
Yeah, Nick, it costs money.
It's not like the building is like a naturally occurring phenomenon.
Just like
like they just found Empire State Building.
Place. I just want to stand off
the British came over and were like, "Whoa, there's like a huge building here. Let's make this our next capital city."
That's not how it happened.
I mean, let's be honest. If it did happen that way, that would be fucking awesome. That's how you decide where the city goes. You just look for the biggest building that was naturally occurring.
Yeah, probably.
Have you seen like have you played Oblivion?
Yeah, actually I have.
You see the main fucking town?
Yeah, there's just like a big
Skyrim.
old like gladiator area in the center.
Yeah, dude. Big thing. Hanging out right there.
That building cost $86. Yeah, finally they've gotten their money back. I mean, $86 to get to the top of a building.
It wasn't even the top. There was a higher point than that.
It's pretty expensive.
How expensive?
I mean, $86 roughly.
Is that a lot expensive or a little expensive?
I would say it is expensive. At the same time, it is probably one of the, most visited tourist attractions in America, so.
What would you expect if you didn't have any preconceptions to pay for that?
Probably $40.
I would have expected 20.
I don't know, man. That's a tall building.
Well, because you actually just nailed it, because it was 2 people, so it was about $40.
Okay. Tokyo Skytree, which is now the tallest freestanding building in the world, or like I don't know. It's not the tallest, but it has like through some very narrow, arbitrary subset of criteria, is the tallest. That was like $60 per person to go up. So I mean, these are like, it's like amusement park prices, sort of.
I guess I was just sort of hoping that somehow they would realize, oh, you live in New York State, so like you don't have to pay as much as people that come from other countries.
This is the Empire State. You know?
Like they can see my driver's license.
This is my building.
I can prove that I'm from this state.
Yeah. Yeah, you're right, Nick. That's bullshit.
I mean, that doesn't make sense to me, but that's okay.
I want a little bit of like respect for having lived in the state and paid their taxes.
You did a lot by being born there.
Yeah. But they don't give me any respect, and I don't appreciate it.
I don't know if you want that, though, because then imagine if you like went to Connecticut or something, and they're like, oh, you're from New York, huh? Turns out it's going to cost you like $100 to drive on this road.
That's
ridiculous.
Nick, you want other people to pay extra money? You want me to pay more money than you? You fuck?
Well, you would get sweet privileges where you live.
I don't have any sweet privileges.
All of Josh's bridges are on fire right now.
Yeah.
That's not good.
Yeah, fucking Liberty. It's called the Liberty Bridge, Nick, and it's on fucking fire.
That's why, like, whenever I get arrested,
a metaphor to our current events.
When I get arrested by the police, which happens on the regular, I'm always like, you can't arrest me. I pay your salary.
Bless you, Kate.
Go arrest somebody else from a different province that doesn't pay your salary. This is ridiculous.
Who do I get to arrest?
Hopefully nobody. I don't trust you with that degree of power.
You think I would abuse my power as a police officer?
No, I just think you have different criteria for arresting. All of Niantic would be in jail right now, and I don't know if that's deserved.
I also wouldn't execute people for jaywalking, though, so I think
I'm not executing people for jaywalking either. I'm just saying
you're allowing them to be executed.
I'm just saying if they cause the accident with their jaywalking, they should be killed instead of the person who was driving.
Yeah. So go back in time and give them a lethal injection
Didn't
before
say
they
that.
cross the road.
Didn't say that.
If I could find a way.
Is that Foreigner?
That's Cher, dude.
That's Cher?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
That's like one of my favorite Cher songs ever. It might actually be one of my favorite songs ever.
There's only like 4 Cher songs, so it's not like...
Hey, Josh, thank you for sharing it with us.
You're welcome.
Do you think it's commentary on the militarization of society that you shoot the spy instead of arresting them? I mean, you know, I believe in the value of due process, but perhaps sometimes governments need to do extrajudicial things in the interest of national security. Fist of Cain subscribes and says, NL isn't a hypocrite for jaywalking. He'd be a hypocrite if he claimed a car should have hit someone else if he were to get in an accident. There you go. Confirmed. There is no concept of jaywalking in the EU. We do whatever we want. Don't they teach you in the Netherlands that, like, don't step on the red sidewalk or you'll get hit by a bicycle? You know, red means dead or something like that. But not in, like, the, you know, the red scare sort of way.
The physics of being hit by a bicycle sound terrifying.
I mean, it would be painful, I assume.
For both parties, honestly, but, like, you've got an aluminum or metal frame of some kind, and a big old rubber tire with some studs, and a whole human being flying at you. That's, like, a lot to take in all at once. And a lot of bad angles and, like, metal.
There's actually a law where you have to jaywalk in Europe.
Or what?
They'll probably give you free healthcare if you don't.
you get free healthcare for breaking the law. Nothing you can do.
I can't believe we're like 3 weeks away from the election, actually.
Oh my god, is it 3 weeks?
Don't.
3 weeks.
Oh, kill me.
Don't.
Jesus.
Ready up.
It's not even 3 weeks, it's less than that, I think.
November 28th. Mark your calendar.
November 28th.
Whoa!
You saw that video then.
We're too close together. Wait, this is a loading screen. Disregard. I feel like Dango.
I feel like Dango. Nick, did you get to see that video?
The one where he says the wrong date?
Yeah.
Yeah.
This is funny. It's like so simple in comparison to everything else that it
That's how I felt about that aviation video from last night too. I'm like, with all the like crazy stuff happening in this election, watching this lady on CNN try to debunk somebody's claim by going through a history of early 1980s aviation, whether or not like first class had fixed armrests. I was like, come on, there's some people of all stars and stripes can laugh at that one.
Wait, which one are the stars? Which one are the stripes?
The Bud Star.
Well, we'd all be wearing stripes if you had your way, Rob.
I don't even know what that
Trying
means.
to rent out Guantanamo.
But because if I want to buy Guantanamo, I think you'd put all the jaywalkers in prison, really.
Yep.
No, he wouldn't. He'd kill them all.
Yep.
Outright.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Let God sort them out.
Like dogs.
Put them in the safe zones.
Excuse me.
That's what he kills dogs. It's a thing.
Yeah, he's a big dog killer.
Besides legalizing pot, what illegal activity do people believe should be decriminalized? Public nudity, speeding, piracy, immigration. Immigration isn't illegal. Drug use, jaywalking, prostitution, lower drinking age, none.
Oh, select your top choice first.
Jaywalking a fucking choice? Are you kidding me?
Yeah, all right. Yeah,
You're picking your top 3 choices out of this list.
Anyone who didn't pick jaywalking number 1 is fucked.
Yeah, pretty much.
Oh, that's audience, isn't it? Oh,
yeah, it's all audience, man.
That's
of course
just
it's jaywalking.
dude. God damn it.
Piracy's probably gonna be in there.
Really, 99% jaywalking.
Speeding got 0%. Drug
Wait,
use got 11. Prostitution got 21. And jaywalking got 34.
Fuck off.
Wow, I actually missed out on a lot of points there.
That special someone.
Don't let the American election this year distract you from just being a good person, okay? You can be a good person and be apolitical. You can be a good person and disagree with people on politics. It's all good. After November, we're all gonna go back. We're gonna be friends again. We're all gonna have to live with each other. You're gonna have to go to that convenience store. You're gonna have to go to the chef. You know what? Are you just gonna? You want to be separate. You want to be surrounded by people who disagree with you, I guess. Is what I'm having trouble clarifying my points here, and I'm probably irritating a lot of people, especially because it's such a hot button issue. But I had like a cab ride when Kate and I were away recently, and the cab driver and I disagreed about a lot of things. At first, like she was like, what do you guys do? And I had kind of like a standard script that I used to explain to people like what being a YouTuber and Twitch streamer is. And then straight up, she was just like, I think video games are eroding the fabric of society. Parents, don't pay attention to their kids anymore. They just give their kids like a screen and tell them to run wild. And I was like, on some level, I agree with that, but largely I disagree with you. And I think there's a very human tendency. By the way, occasionally I treat people like shit and I largely am remorseful for it. But I'm just saying, I'm not like a paragon of virtue in my off-camera life either. But I think there's a very human tendency to be like, you're a fucking idiot. I'm not going to talk to you with respect. But I kind of I got down to business and, we talked to each other like we were human beings. And I still disagree with her point, but I understood her reasoning a little bit more. Although I will say, she also told me that she doesn't trust self-driving cars. Because she's like, sure, I could put my granddaughter in a self-driving car and like send her to daycare, but who's gonna grab her out of the car when she gets to daycare? And I wanted to say, well, like, it's not like if you get a self-driving car, only one person can go in it. Why don't you go into daycare with your granddaughter and then, get her out of the car, get her set up, and then tell it to, drive you to the grocery store or drive you home or something like that. Like, I don't really understand your point, but, some things are better left unsaid in a casual conversation like that. But, I think it's easy to erode the humanity in a hot, heated situation like we've had this year. And I look forward to what I think is gonna happen, where, as of like February maybe, we're all gonna be like, wow, that was wild. No matter what happens in the election, like we're all cool now, right? Like at least until 2020 when we repeat this dog and pony show again. Like we're all just gonna like get along roughly. All right, sweet. Like, not every third tweet on Twitter is gonna be about, oh, this person's a shithead. Oh, this person's a, moron. Anyway. So this has been an episode of The Binding of Isaac Afterbirth, where I talked about politics for 25 minutes without ever sharing one opinion whatsoever, except that I don't like St. Patrick's Day. Controversy. Thanks for watching. I hope you guys have enjoyed. So I think on this run in particular, we're pretty much just coasting it in, It's like we're having a driving lesson and our dad is like, look, I got us onto our street. All you gotta do is pilot the car into the driveway. Especially now it's got self-driving cars and our dad is like, just sit in the driver's seat and press the go home button. Dude, I'm so excited for self-driving cars. It's a scary thought for a couple of reasons, and I think those reasons are fairly obvious. You know, automation, when you're young and you're educated and, you know, you're excited about the future instead of just trying to ride it out until the heat death of the universe. Automation sounds like a universally good thing. I can relate because I'm young and I'm not bragging, but I have an education. Automation seems universally good because you're like, you know, you haven't made your living as like a truck driver or a cashier for 30 years, and then they're like, man, I can't wait till the robots come in, take my job, and leave me like unemployed, and yet basic income hasn't been improved and stuff like that. It seems like it's a good thing. And automation is a good thing, I think, in my personal opinion, but it is going to be a little scary depending, you know, what is it, like the most held job in America in like 38 out of 50 states is a truck driver. Self-driving cars become, you know, universally used within the next 50 years even, which I think is fairly conservative. You know, that's a lot of jobs. It's a lot of people out of work that have got to find something else to do, but I think the writing's on the wall, and I'm very excited. Because as much as I complain about texting and driving, there have been times where I've been in the car, and I've been like, I'd really like to send a text. I don't, because, you know, I don't have a death wish. But now, like, you know, think of all the problems that self-driving cars start to alleviate, if not fix. Texting and driving, you gotta know that once self-driving cars come out, it's gonna be like being on an airplane where they're like, hey, can you turn your cell phone off, please? And you're like, really? Like, you think my cell phone's gonna interfere with the airplane taking off? They're like, well, we just don't know. For a few years, people are gonna be like, you still can't text and drive, and I respect that. But then, once that, you know, once we're all good, the gloves come off. Texting and driving, no longer a problem. It's just like taking the bus. Drinking and driving. Not saying you should do that with a self-driving car, because what if there's an emergency and you need to take the helm for some reason? You know, your AI core has gone down. That being said, it's probably less of a problem if your car drives itself and can do so safely and reliably. You could fucking drive at the same time if you had a self-driving car. You probably, by the time we get self-driving cars that are that reliable, you could probably get a robot to give you an HJ while you're driving. But you're not even, just go to sleep in the back seat, you know? I don't know. It's surprisingly controversial. I told this story on the NLSS. I'm not sure if I did it in a video, but when Kate and I went to like the Final Fantasy Fan Fest for her in Vegas, the cab driver was like very anti self-driving cars, which I understand because she's, you know, driving a cab. Like if Uber gets self-driving cars, then all of a sudden, you know, she's gonna have a lot of pressure put on her to find employment, basically. And I'm actually genuinely sympathetic to that, whereas I think a lot of people are sympathetic, but some other people are like, sorry, that's progress, you know? And it is, but still, you know, you should still, like, be nice to them, I think. Is that controversial? I don't think so. I think I'm putting up a straw man here. But she was like, you know, I get it. So my granddaughter's going to daycare. I could put her in the car and program it to drive to the daycare, but who's getting her out at the daycare? Like, is there a robot gonna get her out? I smiled and nodded politely, but you could just... You don't have to not be in the car. You could still be in the car with her when you go to daycare. Like, that just seems obvious to me, but maybe I'm the weirdo. Maybe I'm missing out on something. I feel like a lot of the problems with self-driving cars are just like... They're things that are probably gonna get solved. Right! Like, you could just ride in the car. You don't even have to own a car. You can just drive around or, you know, stay parked and then just come to you whenever you need it. You can have a taxi on demand, in theory. I gotta admit, I'm very pro-automation. I'd never really considered the consequences, you know? You walk into a McDonald's here, now at least, within the past year or so, used to be 4 cashiers, now 1 cashier, and like 9 automatic ordering kiosks. And you're like, wow, this is amazing, the human race is awesome. And then you're also like, man, where's my 16-year-old gonna go get a job? I guess they should start to learn how to be, you know, a technician that repairs the McDonald's automatic ordering kiosks. How long until you can just order, you know, whatever you want on your phone, and then go through the drive-thru, scan your phone number, and then, you know, someone at the drive-thru window just has already made your order and passes it to you. You know, maybe that's already on the way. You can do that at Starbucks already. I think it says a lot that my vision of the future almost exclusively revolves around how the fast food ordering process is going to change. I actually don't consume fast food that often. I don't even consume food that often. That's something I've been meaning to tell you guys is I think I've independently developed the ability to just be photosynthetic. It's great, you know, speaking of automation, which I'm not a futurist necessarily. Like, I don't know what's coming in the future. I will say that, you know, part of the reason I've been motivated to learn to program is, you know, you see the way robotics and, you know, well, just electronics in general are going. I'd like to get a slice of that pie in the future if this YouTube thing ever goes away, which is, you know, it could. This job didn't exist 5 years ago. It's possible, although I would think unlikely that it won't exist 5 years from now. But, you know, this way at least I have some ability to serve our robot masters when artificial intelligence is inevitably invented and, you know, surpasses human intelligence. I'm not saying that'll save my life, but probably our robot masters will choose to murder me among the last group of people because I will be able to augment them. Hopefully. I'm going to be a friend of the robot. I'm going to be the dude. You ever watch like a movie? And it doesn't have to be like, you know, robots versus humans. You ever watch a movie where like, you know, people get kidnapped and then there's always like there's like the Kurt Russell type who's like, we're going to get out of this situation. And then there's always like the sniveling, you know, like Oliver Platt in Executive Decision. What a kind of a niche reference. But guy who's like, I think we should negotiate with them. I'm the dude negotiating with them. I know, I'm the dude with no backbone who's like, yeah, you know, I'll sell out the rest of my species for another, you know, I'm Cypher from the Matrix for sure. And I take no pride in that. Is this my cat? Hello? That was weird to me. I take no pride in that. That's why I put myself in situations, or try to avoid situations, I should say, in which I have to be noble. And who knows, maybe if I found myself in the situation where the robots were uprising, I would find a source of courage. But it's possible that I would just be like, sweet dude, you know, you can kill me whenever you want, but like, just make sure I'm comfortable until you kill me. I would go out like a bitch, I'll be the first to tell you. And I think a lot of you would too. Everybody wants to see themselves as the heroes, but not everybody's gonna be the hero in that situation. But either way, this is irrelevant right now. And if I get any angry comments that are like, NL, that's so uncool that you would sell us out in the robot apocalypse. Yo, it's a joke, for one. You can get on my ass when the robot apocalypse is happening. I'm not taking any flack for it right now, you know. I still hold the door open for people now. I say please and thank you, okay? I'm a nice dude in real life. I'm just saying when the robots happen, that's gonna be a problem. But it's funny, man. Being a YouTuber, Twitch streamer is kind of a dream job already most of the time, except when you get yelled at on the internet. But even then, you know, you got to keep things in perspective. It's a pretty good life. But we're also so protected from automation, you know? Like, if you drive a truck, it's a very skillful job that I cannot do. Unfortunately, a robot might be able to in the future. And it's just the reality of the situation that we may or may not have to deal with. I'm not disparaging truck drivers at all, saying they should all lose their jobs in the name of human progress. I'm just saying that's an automatable task. Have you ever seen a robot try to tell a joke? We're getting there. Like, artificial intelligences and neural networks have started writing, like, scripts and movie trailers. I'm gonna level with you, they're all fucking horrible. Right now, they all suck. I've got, like, at least another 15 years before I have to worry about, you know, that for whom the bell tolls coming for me. So, you know, some guys get all the luck, apparently. That you can be mad at me for, but it's just fate and circumstance, man. I think automation's gonna be a contentious issue. Like, it was like, probably like last year, I started to hear about automation now and then. I have, believe it or not, I have smart friends. I'm not necessarily a smart man, but I have smart friends, you know. Friends who have their PhD in robotics or engineering, aeronautical engineering, you know, people who have their computer science, of course, people who have their finger on like the pulse of what's coming in the future. And I'm like, hey, have you guys played Planet Coaster? You got to make a roller coaster and then ride it yourself, yoo-hoo, you know? I'm outclassed at every occasion. However, you know, they started talking about, you know, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, they're like, in the future, self-driving cars. And I'm like, yeah, I could see it. But I've really seen the media pick up on it, like, in the past year. That's going to be, like, the next... Well, I don't feel comfortable saying this with authority, but that's going to be, like, the next, you know, cloning issue. Like, you know, is it moral to use self-checkout? Are you using self-checkout? I've never heard anything but, like, most positives when people talk about self-checkout. They're like, if you had the choice to go to a cashier... You had the choice to go to the self-checkout. Now that it doesn't say, like, unexpected item in bagging area for every single thing you put in there. You know, there was a rough time. Now they're pretty good. At least over here, they're pretty good. But maybe they're even better in other parts of the world. You know, which do you choose to do? Right now, I'm a 10 out of 10. Go to the self-checkout. Is it possible that you'll be judged for that in the future? I'm not saying yes. I'm just saying, you know, once we see... You know, former retail employees picketing outside of, like, their former places of employment saying, get those robots out of my job. Maybe it'll be a little different. Like, that's the real, like, techno-dystopia, I think, is when the robots take all of our jobs and we're like, wait a minute. I wanted the robots to make my life easier, but I didn't want them to, like, leave me out of work. I still gotta pay for things. It's a surprisingly political issue that's kind of, like, unexpectedly prescient now. I think, at least. And that's why everybody should learn to program, so when the robots inevitably uprise, you can program them to be slightly worse than you, so you continue to have the ability to be employable. Anyway, we have to be careful with something like Curse of the Lost here, or Curse of the whatever, you know, the one that moves us around, because Curse of the bad GPS, Curse of the navigation system trying to tell you to turn left onto a one-way street that only traffics to the right. Talk about self-driving cars a couple episodes ago. It is worth keeping in perspective that, oh my god, more bomb synergy. My GPS routinely tries to get me to do things that are, you know, are either outright illegal or likely to get me killed. But, you know, that's just now, dude. That's just now. Machine learning, something, buzzword. We're gonna get there. I sincerely mean that, but still. It's funny to keep it in perspective sometimes. A new traffic law that really needs to happen. Jaywalkers will be executed on sight, or if the other answer is jaywalking, I win.
He got him.
Oh my god.
The counterplay.
Yeah, but does that work though? Because like that's not the answer.
Ooh,
it's not
jaywalk though.
I think
Chat's gonna vote for it.
If you roll the dice, you know, you get the rewards.
That's a good, yeah. It's fair.
Ooh, the other answer is jaywalking. I win. Mouth with the chaotic neutral quiplash denial, but if the other answer is jaywalking, I win is 85 to 15.
Yeah, alright, fair enough. Well played, well played.
Let's see if your scores did.
Oh, that's another story. I can't believe I'm telling this with 10 minutes left in the NLSS. Kate and I were at this New Year's thing in downtown Vancouver. It was crazy. There were like 80,000 people.
80,000?
Yes.
In
it
a grocery store?
It was outside. Yeah, it was in a Save On Foods downtown. And we were leaving, and it was busy, right? As you might expect. But it's right next to the train station, so it's easy to get home. But then there's there's barriers, so you can't jump the line. One dude thought he was real sneaky. A little Michael A.L. Fox type, if you know what I mean. And he moved the barrier and then started ushering people in. The cop, like, grabbed him and then wrenched his arm behind his back, and, like, pushed him over the barrier and threw him out. And the dude, like, I don't agree with the butting in line, okay? That's an egregious sin. But I think the dude was rightfully like, yo, what the fuck? I just cut in line and you're gonna throw me out? And the cop was like, you're lucky we don't put you in handcuffs. And I was like, it takes a lot to make me side with this asshole, but what are you gonna arrest him for? He butt in line. He's going away for a long time.
Disorderly conduct, I guess.
I guess. Mischief or something like that.
Planted some weed on him. Who cares?
But then I was like, dude, this is what happens if, like, Reddit comments ever got to, like, create the laws in this country. It'd be like, you know,
Wait, are you the guy who wants to kill jaywalkers, though?
I didn't say I wanted to kill jaywalkers. I said if the self-driving car has to choose between killing me driving legally or a jaywalker crossing illegally, they should prioritize my life.
I think you were looking for reasons to kill jaywalkers for a while.
I don't like I don't like jaywalkers necessarily, but if they're doing so in a way that's not harmful, it doesn't bother me at all. But if my self-driving car is choosing to keep someone alive, legal driver over illegal jaywalker.
Apparently jaywalker
You outfoxed me that time, Pumpkin.
a term coined by the car company so they could have more leeway on roads.
Really?
Yeah.
There's all sorts of shadow organization shit at the car company.
Fucking big car again.
Big car, dude.
Fucking Hummers, get out of here.
Jaywalking is a victimless crime. Line cutters should be shot. Well,
yeah.
Line cutting's super, like, don't do that.
I despise line cutting. But I do agree with the dude. Well, he's like, you could have just, like, asked me to move. You don't have to, like, borderline assault me for cutting in line.
What are you doing?
If you cut in line at Fenway Park, Ted Williams gets resurrected, cured of his alcoholism, and then takes a swing at your dome piece. You know, if you were to tell me, like, American cities that I think I would be most likely to be cut in line in, I would think that Boston would be up there.
Yeah?
I would think that in Boston, I would expect to be cut in. I would be disappointed if I wasn't cut in line.
Cut in line in
Boston, is there, like,
Boston's
reasons? Like, are you just, like, kind of, like, loafing around?
No, I think Boston's like shrewd but respectful, but they're shrewd, right?
Not
I think
necessarily.
you're gonna get cut like in Oakland, like they'll cut in line.
Yeah.
Boston #1, NYC #2.
Oh
Fuck
yeah.
ask Rob about
New York,
cutting.
there's no respect there.
No one cuts in New York because they don't want to get their ass beat. Hell yeah, dude.
Or mugged.
I saw
Getting your ass raw.
anybody else when they go out, they just want to beat ass. That's my whole goal. It's like,
Oh,
yeah,
yeah,
I
beat
need some
ass all the time.
need some granola bars, but I could also go for some ass beating.
You should go out for granola bars and also beat ass on the way out to the
Dude,
granola.
I do. Sometimes people
Yeah,
do
go
stuff.
back in.
They're like driving their car, and then they just like throw it in reverse, and I'm like, "What's this guy doing?" And then it turns he's just like parallel parking, and I'm like,
Yeah,
"Oh,
it's like you're out with your bae, you're gonna, get some granola bars, then like this scumbag comes in with their like Pop-Tarts. You can't have that.
don't even get me started." It's always what is it with Pop-Tarts? It's always the Pop-Tarts.
I hate Pop-Tarts.
I think I told you guys about that Lexus ad. Maybe I even talked about it on Monday's show, where like there's an old dude in the back. Well, he's like a 50-year-old guy in the back of the car, and he goes, "It's hard to explain the feel of that power under your foot and the hands on the steering wheel." And it shows him like driving through a beautiful canyon road. And then when it comes back to the present day, it's not the present, it's the future, and he's in the back of a self-driving car. And then it says, "Lexus, enjoy driving while you still can." I want to see that ad, but like the dude's like, "It's hard to explain," and you see him driving his car, and then like some 45-year-old lady on a cell phone just swerves into him and T-bones him and like knocks him over a cliff or something like that. Enjoy driving while you still can.
That'd be fucking awesome. I'd watch that commercial.
I'm not, again, when it comes to music, listen to whatever you want to listen to. As long as you use your turn signals, you're a fucking saint as far as I'm concerned. And I mean that sincerely. Nick and I had a conversation on the NLSS like a couple months ago. And I was like, "Nick, when you were 16, how did you know if somebody was cool?" And after a little poking and prodding, he said what I wanted him to say, which was, and it's the truth, that, when you're young, you go, "Hey, what movies do you like? What music do you like?" We bond over that, right? "Oh, you like Radiohead? Me too." Just you, me, and 900 million other people. It doesn't mean that it's bad to like Radiohead. Of course, Radiohead is amazing, but I'm just saying, there's other more narrow criteria to judge people on. Do you wait for the walk sign to come on before you start crossing the street? You might be saying, "NL, not another jaywalking rant." It's not another jaywalking rant. What it is, you're waiting for a light to change so that you can cross the street. You know that the other side just got their amber light, which means that they're going to stop. Are you going to start walking before your walk sign comes on? That 3-second period between the other side going amber and you finally getting your signal. If you walk during that period, you're a piece of shit. I hate you. I don't actually hate you. Thank you for the support and watching my videos, but just wait 2 more seconds. I walk, I cycle, I drive. As a pedestrian, it's so nice to the drivers that when you obey the signs, if everybody just obeys the signs, you're gonna be, you know, the world's gonna be a better place, okay? Everybody knows the system is designed that if everybody follows the rules, nobody's gonna get hurt unless a terrible accident happens. Oh, but isn't following the signs how we ended up with the Nazis? No, I don't think that's... I mean, be careful about what signs you follow, what signs you don't, if you're gonna choose to be overly reductive like that. Follow the walk, don't walk sign, because, you know, if I hit you with my car, maybe it's my fault, but it ruins both of our lives. Unless you live and you sue me, in which case, you know, you might be personally injured, but I don't know, maybe you'll come out clean on the other side with a fat paycheck. It's possible, I suppose. ICBC could... I mean, this has to take place in British Columbia, basically. Otherwise, maybe I'm, you know, driving without a license in Cambodia. Then who even knows what the fucking rules are there? Anyway, the point is, just follow the signs. When I walk, I follow the signs. When I cycle, I use my hand signals. When I bike, if you will, I use my hand signals. It's when people think they're... This is like the most establishment argument of all time. You know, I'm a 28-year-old working in new media. You'd expect me to be like some kind of rebel. Instead, I'm like, the system is in place for a reason. If everybody followed the rules, the world would be a better place. Yo, march to the beat of your own drum. But at the same time, pick an instrument that's in the orchestra. Don't show up to band practice with a vuvuzela and go, oh, I want to pursue my dreams. Make your own band if that's the case. You can't show up to the existing orchestra with a theremin and be like, I want to be first chair. Then you make your own orchestra. In this analogy, that means, you know, you want to not follow the rules of the road, make your own road, then you can make your own rules. Well, actually, the taxpayers. But you know what, Mr. Strawman? Bring me a meme. Bring me the dankest that I've ever seen. Man, my neighbors are probably gonna try to have me committed, like, to a mental institution. The things that come out of my mouth on a regular basis, quite alarming. A fun trick to pull... Whoa, jinx! Bear, we jinxed!
Oh, nice!
A fun trick to pull with your identical twin is to switch places during birth.
Next one.
Wow!
That's great.
New rule, you should automatically be arrested if you jaywalk or jaywalk,
Oh my god!
parentheses, life sentence.
This might be the weirdest round, by the way.
Oh. Someone went too far with it. We didn't jinx.
Damn it!
Oh. I gotta give it to the extra mile, don't I?
No, you gotta give it to the elegance.
Yeah, I went for the straight jaywalk.
Minimalism, okay.
No, you give it to who you want, baby.
Guess what? I already voted for the second one.
Yes.
Whoa! Well, the second one won.
Yeah.
Second one.
I was very close to putting just jaywalk.
That would have been
No one has
great.
respect for brevity.
59 to 41 for
Well,
the
I
second
do,
one.
but I didn't want the quiplash.
Hey, Ruka, get out of here. I know you're hungry, okay? It'll resolve itself spontaneously at 6
You
p.m.
kicked Rook out already.
Yeah, well, I think he comes back in.
Oh.
You close the door.
It gets real hot in here with the door closed, man.
You have an AC?
I mean, they turned the AC on. It's freaking February. My wife in her office is gonna be like, "Why is it 14 degrees Celsius in my office?"
But you can set the air conditioner to not get that low.
Now that I cannot do. Well, that was brutal. Everybody's always they got solutions for every problem, as if I've not lived this life.
Yeah.
I don't know. Just when it gets hot, like I have the AC on right now.
It's like when
No, you don't
when
have to tell me, man.
Invicta, I was like, man, it's really hot in here, and I'm like, yeah, well, like, you know, I kept presenting objections, and eventually he's like, why don't you just move to a bigger place? And I was like, oh, real estate's really expensive here. He's like, oh, why don't you just move to Texas then? And you're like, okay, or maybe I'll just keep complaining for like another little bit. Just knock the walls down. Yeah, there you go. Well, my landlord might have a problem with that. Just kill her.
Dude, in New York, some landlord killed a tenant by stabbing them to death because they were like late on their rent.
Honestly,
It's a little harsh.
I disagree.
I mean, you disagree.
I mean, there's got to be punishments for crimes, man.
You don't want to
Wait. For not paying?
Yeah.
Oh, I agree, but do you think somebody should get stabbed?
That's not for me to decide. That's between the
Maybe
landlord
just,
and the tenant.
Maybe just go to jail or something. For a little
I read they
while.
let that guy out that ate the guy's face on the bus.
Look, that's fake news. He chopped his head off with a knife. And then ate pieces of his heart while he was waiting for the cops to arrive. It's not funny. I mean, I don't think
I didn't mean to misrepresent the story.
You've made it pretty funny.
But yeah, he's out now.
Yeah, I mean, but this is the thing when you're talking about rehabilitation, right? The guy was not right in the head.
Right,
he was
yeah.
apparently like undiagnosed schizophrenic.
Yeah.
Right? So like, you know, it's not
I'm
like
just
there
saying
should be-
that's like a different level of understanding that thinks that someone who's done that would be rehabilitated.
Yeah, I mean, like, I'd say it's fair to say it's a divisive issue up here.
Right.
You know, I got a lot of tweets that day that were like, "What's wrong with your country?" And I'm like, I don't know. Is it wrong? Is it right?
Yeah.
That's not for me to
Yeah,
decide.
I also stand in that camp that's like, I just don't really know what's right there.
I mean, the point is, regardless of whether they bring him in or out of prison, like, you should always be looking at, like, what's the root cause of this? Like,
Oh, for sure, yeah.
you know?
I mean, the whole idea behind prison being rehabilitation instead of just a place to keep people forever, I mean, that's like fundamentally different from our attitude. So that kind of informs why that would even be possible.
But it's a strong test. Like, this is where you're like, I think prison's for rehabilitation. And then you're like, what if a dude cut off somebody's head on a bus and then ate his heart? And you're like, well, you know what? That's ridiculous.
Yeah, no, that's an extreme example in the other direction. I agree.
Honestly, I think we should put him on the Senate. And just because I want a balanced series of viewpoints. Like,
So he goes on the Senate, and the landlord gets to kill the person who didn't pay the rent.
she should be in charge of the Senate.
Completely goes on the Senate.
there.
She should be she's the lord of the land, dude. Anyway, yeah, that guy's like free now.
Yeah, but like, he's gonna be
He's gonna
on
do it again.
probation for life.
If
and
he-
he's on vacation.
This is gonna be controversial, but I think if he cuts another dude's head off on the bus, they shouldn't let him out again for at least like 15 years.
Yeah, at least double his sentence.
That's the way the legal system should work, dude. Anytime you commit a crime and you're found guilty, just double the sentence.
Exponential.
I don't know if I should laugh at that.
Any crime too. You
Yeah.
don't have to commit the same crime. So it's
You-
like, if the first time you get caught for killing a person, 1 year in prison.
What?
The second
That's-
time, if you get caught for stealing a grape, 2 years in prison.
Okay, that's...
Third time, you get caught for jaywalking, 4 years in prison.
Well, I like the idea that you could have somebody who's in jail for like 1,000 years for shoplifting, and then have somebody who's in jail for like, 15 years for manslaughter.
Hey man, you can't do the time. Oh.
I mean, what
the ragdoll in this game?
what's worse, killing one person or stealing from a business 25 times? They're pretty close, right?
There's no value. Yeah, you can put a value on it.
Nobody else wants to have these conversations. It's just us.
This is we're all about removing stigma from things. It's the whole point.
Absolutely correct.
What are you stealing though? Do that.
Doesn't matter.
25 grapes?
Grapes, yeah. One bunch of grapes. Each grape counts individually.
I don't know. I don't know, like stealing 25 times. You gotta steal at least like 50 times. If we're talking like petty theft.
Well, if they've only been caught 25 times, how many times do you think they've stolen, man?
That's a good point, but it only matters how many times you get caught.
You know what? If you steal at my business, you can catch me outside. How about that?
Steal everything. Never get caught.
Let me now.
Look, I mean, this might be controversial, but in many situations, I think that $1 is worth more than a human life, because $1 cannot commit crimes. Whereas, hear me out. Hear me out here.
Okay.
A human being could be good or bad.
Yeah.
$1, always good.
Why did you say a human being? As if there was another type of being we could be talking about in relation to this. It's not a dollar being.
Well, not yet.
So the dollar's intrinsic worth is that it is always positive, but it can be attributed to negative use.
Yeah.
Explain.
Here, I'll kill your grandma.
Okay, well that's...
But you're saying that's because that's a human activity, the dollar has no responsibility.
The dollar is innocent, yeah.
But it's a human creation, and is it a good creation or bad creation?
I don't believe the
Money
sins of
leads
the
people
father.
to do some pretty terrible things.
I don't believe the sins of the father pass to the son.
Jafaja? Whoa!
Guessed wrong on that one, huh?
Yep.
It's time to stop.
Usually, yeah. I've thought that a few times, like, in my life. Like, whenever I come across a traffic light and it's red, I'm like, time to stop.
Yeah.
When do you start going again, though? Because that's the part nobody can ever figure it out.
You know what? I'm glad you asked, Nick, because this brings me to my Northernlion bone of the week. I got a bone to pick with you motherfuckers. I see you
as well.
Excuse me. I see you at the traffic lights, shaking that ass, and I see you. You stop on a red. Good for you. Here's your cookie. Then you see that it turns red for the other direction. You know, the people going, trying to get to work the way they want to. They gotta go to make money in today's world. And then you start to inch forward on the starting line. You inch forward on the starting line. What are you trying to do? You think you're Mario Andretti? You're gonna beat the light, and then inevitably, the other side gets a protected left. You're already like 20% out in the intersection. And you gotta like throw it in reverse to make the rest of us look like assholes. That's my bone of the week. Stop trying to beat the traffic light. Just go when it turns green, you moron. I grew up driving in the country, and you know, you cross somebody on the country road, you give them a little wave, you know. You say,
Yeah, you give them the middle finger.
Yeah, exactly. Well, that's the big city wave. Like, this guy's also driving a car. Fuck you. Like, you actually you can ask Kate. There's multiple times, probably like weekly, where I'm like, all right, dude, I'm gonna change lanes. So it's really up to you if you want to like risk one of us dying. I have to get to where I need to go. I've waited as long as I conceivably can. So it's up to you to either, you know, how much does this spot mean to you? Does it mean that we're both gonna go to court in like 6 months to get this resolved, or are we just gonna do it right now and like get on with our lives?
The ultimate in apathy. You're like, you know what? If we both die, you know, I guess that's just the way the cards fell.
I've been waiting for a spot to open up in this fucking lane for 10 minutes, and everybody's just, you know, speeding up to cut it off from you. So, tell you what, you want this spot, you're gonna have to kill a man. Decide if that's worth it for you.
And it always
I mean,
is.
might as well, right?
I mean, they had the right.
What else do you have to live for if you don't have the spot?
That's little known. It's called the Grandfather Clause of 1941. If you have the right of way and you kill someone in your car, get off scot-free. Hell, they name a street after you.
Who's grandfather?
Is it your clause? Because that sounds like your basis for annihilating all jaywalkers.
Well, see, this is a lot of Northernlionisms have been taken out of context. People seem to think I want jaywalkers to die. That's not the case. I just think that if they cause the accident with a self-driving car, they should die. Instead of the person in the self-driving car.
The jaywalker causes the accident with the self-driving car.
Hear me out, Josh. I don't know if you were on the show when we talked about it. You're in a self-driving car. You're in the passenger seat reading.
Like right now.
Right now. You're in the back seat of your self-driving car, reading the newspaper, probably the stock section, because you sound like a big shot, right? And then
yeah, obviously.
you're coming up to a green light. Okay, so you wait on a green light. Does your car go or does your car stop?
My car goes.
Right. I'm sorry I had to patronize you with that question, but I'm setting up a chain that's going to lead to you eventually agreeing with me is the idea. So you come up to this green light, your car's got the right of way, and then some punk on a skateboard with headphones on, smoking a marijuana cigarette hops off the curb. He gives you the middle finger. He goes, "What are you going to do, Grandpa? Kill me?" Your car's going too fast. It can't stop in time. And right next to this dude, there's a red video game barrel, which means if you swerve into it, you're gonna die. But only you. Should the self-driving car swerve into the barrel, killing you to save the pedestrian, or should the self-driving car hit the pedestrian?
Hit the pedestrian.
Why do you say that?
Because I hate pedestrians.
Right, but like, do you have a reason?
Well, like, to be honest, like, I stopped listening so you halfway
God
through
damn
that
it.
long story. And then at the end of the story, you presented me with two options, and I just chose the one.
Right, yeah.
Which one did you want me to choose?
I mean, you chose the one I wanted you to choose, but I was hoping you had good reasons instead of
Why would I want to actually hit a pedestrian?
Because the other option is that you die for his mistake.
Oh, I don't want to die. Why would I die then?
I'm beginning to see why America's in the state that it's in right now.
Wait, why would I die?
Because it's a trolley problem. There's an
because some fake explosion thing.
Yeah, exactly.
See, that's Socrates would be like, Ryan, you're an idiot.
Why would
Stop trying to argue
Socrates
that
would be like, are you an idiot? Yeah, exactly. Does this seem like a smart question?
Yeah.
And actually, Socrates would be like, hey, I want to answer your question, but first, can you tell me what a car is?
What is a car?
What's a skateboard?
What's a video game?
What language?
Why is the barrel red?
What language are you speaking right now? Sic transit
Well,
gloria.
you would ask that question in English.
Well, he's a smart guy. But I just think like that's been taken out of context. People are like, oh, there's a jaywalker, hit him. No. If the only option for the self-driving car is to hit the jaywalker who jaywalked or crash the car into like a barricade that's next to the jaywalker, I think you should hit the jaywalker because he made the decision to break the... I hesitate to say break the law, but to violate the rules of the road.
Breaking the law, breaking the law.
Judas Priest. Now that's a song, buddy.
What if you had the option to shoot him in the belly before you